Super interesting game tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Broncos playing the Chiefs, and we have trade rumors surrounding both the combination of Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. Sounds a little bit more serious when it comes to Jerry Jeudy, and you could take this one of two ways, right? You could say, okay, well, Jerry Jeudy and this team, they're not doing well together. They're going to send Jerry Jeudy away. Maybe we should go through and bench Jerry Jeudy just in case he doesn't get involved a ton. Or you could break it down the other way. Go, okay, the Denver Broncos are trying to get rid of Jerry Jeudy. They're possibly going to trade Jeudy. They're possibly going to trade Sutton. So maybe they go out there and maybe this week they decide to just straight up highlight these guys and force feed targets down their throats. And I see already someone out in the chat saying Jerry Jeudy to the Chiefs. I saw this a lot on Twitter where people are going, oh, Judy's, no. Realistically speaking, can y'all please let me know? Maybe I'm mistaken. Let me know in the live chat. Has there been a point where we have seen a player get traded like Jerry Jeudy inside the same division? Typically, you're never seeing those players be sent in the same division because what's going to happen is Jerry Jeudy has to play the Chiefs twice a year. We got World on Music saying Jeudy to the Ravens with Lamar. I don't necessarily think that this makes a ton of sense. Just because, I mean, the Ravens went out there, they paid Lamar, they paid Odell Beckham Jr., they draft Zay Flowers in round 1. Could they possibly go out there and afford Jerry Jeudy? Because whoever trades for Jerry Jeudy is going to have to get Jerry Jeudy a contract extension. Yeah, I have no idea what the Broncos have been doing. Jeudy to the Texans, this is a move that actually I think would make a considerable amount of sense. The Texans should be able to pay Jeudy at least off the top of my head, considering the fact that they have the rookie on the quarterback contract. So I think like realistic landing spots for Jerry Jeudy / Courtland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy is the guy that's a little more likely to be sent off. Would be like the Houston Texans or the Indianapolis Colts. At least in my mind, I think that's what would make the most sense, and I think that's what we may end up seeing. I see a Giants. I mean, come on. Are the Giants going through and trading for anybody right now? I mean, I would assume that they're going ahead and they're just saying, oh, okay, well, let's burn this ship down to the ground. We got nothing to play for. But I think that should be about it in terms of the trade rumors. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section. And we're actually going to have to pull up a couple of questions on the other screen just because we did get mixed up a little bit. So as I do this, please let me remind you, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you'll get a 100% deposit match plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you would get a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em for tonight, more than less than half a total yard. If you miss kickoff, then instead you're going to get a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard on Sunday. But regardless, because it was our birthday this week, Underdog's also hooking everybody up who's used this code FLOCK with a Justin Herbert special pick'em on top of that for Monday night. So please make sure you are taking advantage. Now, I believe our first question will be coming out here from Max, who says 3-2, trade DJ Moore and Achane for Jefferson and Javonte. My receivers are Chase, Moore, Pittman, Addison, JSN, and Johnston. It's a 3-wide receiver league. DJ Moore versus Jefferson. Obviously, short-term, give me Moore. Long-term, give me Jefferson. Achane versus Javonte. Give me Achane regardless. So, honestly, I do think that it is up to you. It is so difficult to go out there and accurately value those guys that are going to be missing a large chunk of time, but still have the elite level ceiling in the long term. Now, Gucci Broomstick coming out says, hey, Mason, for one, should we trade Tyreek for Lamb and Smith? Nope, keep Tyreek, my friend. And should we package Amari and Judy for Amon-Ra or maybe wait till the week's over? I would package together Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy could see his value spike if Jerry Jeudy does end up getting traded. But still, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's just a different caliber player. Vincent says Walker for Achane and Garrett. We have Walker currently. We're 2-3. We definitely want to go with Kenneth Walker if you're 2-3. We can't be trading for Achane. We need points now, not in the long term. Max says 3-2, full point BBR. Trade DJ Moore for Jonathan Taylor and Javonte Williams. Running backs are Etienne, Achane. Yeah, so if your RB2 right now is Zach Charbonnet and we have enough wide receiver production, I think I would sell DJ Moore for Jonathan Taylor and Javonte Williams for the long term. Even though I do think that DJ Moore will be better than Jonathan Taylor for this week in particular. Henry says, do we think we sit Jerry Jeudy for KJ Osborne? Worried about the weather. Let's see what the weather looks like in, about 2 hours. I think we'll have a much better sense. But, if the weather's fine, I would go Jeudy over Osborne. Emily says got offered Addison and Madison for Smith and Sanders. I would rather have Smith over Addison, Sanders versus Madison. I'd probably rather have Madison. Fair deal, up to you. Obviously, Jordan Addison's going to crush while Jefferson's out. Jack says trade Madison, Gabe Davis, Ridley for Amon-Ra. Also trade Madison and Stroud for Rashee Rice and Joe Burrow. Rashee Rice, no real value. If you wanted to trade Madison and Stroud for Burrow, not going to fault you for it, though. Now, I would probably rather do the first deal if we could get Amon-Ra St. Brown in return, but I do think that it maybe makes some sense to go out there and try to get Burrow. If you wanted to, you could always wait till like a week 8 to trade for Burrow. I don't think he's going to be like phenomenal this week. I don't think he'll be 100% this week, and he has a week 7 bye, so maybe week 8's when we want Burrow. Juan says Hollywood or Zay, and then Hopkins or T. This week, I'm going to go Hopkins. Long term, I'll go T. And then Hollywood or Zay Flowers. Honestly, I'll probably take Zay Flowers. Steven says, do we start Ramondre against the Raiders? I have Ramondre ranked as an RB3 this week against the Raiders, my friend. So, obviously, it really does depend on your other options. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from The Dark Knight says, lost Achane. Should I trade Debo and Hollywood for Pollard? Hell yes. Especially in an 8-team league where wide receiver depth's not going to matter much at all. Like in an 8-team league, someone like Hollywood Brown literally makes no difference for me. So let's definitely make that deal. Payne says, got offered Adams, Herbert, Sanders for Puka, Stevenson, Herbert. Should we take it? I would rather have Adams over Puka and Stevenson. I don't know what like the Herbert part of this is though. We got Herbert on one side, Herbert on the other side. Don't know what that is. Jay says, I'm 0-5. Trade Chase for Keenan, Jacobs, and Christian Watson. Fair price point if you are desperate for running back production. I do think that Jamar Chase is the best player in the deal, but fair price point if you're desperate for RB. Skyward says, we have Hurts, Bijan, Swift, AJ Puka, Hawk, Moore. Sent Amari Flowers for Kyron. Do we sit AJ Brown and flex Kyron Williams? No, you go ahead, you flex Kyron, start AJ Brown, bench DJ Moore. I understand DJ Moore crushed last week. I understand that, yes, AJ Brown is a tough matchup as well. If you go look at the underdog pick'ems right now, they have DJ Moore at like 56.5 receiving yards. He's not AJ Brown, Zach says 12-team Superflex PBR, Tua and Montgomery for Eckler and Lamb. Oh, I'd way rather have Eckler and CeeDee Lamb in a full BBR format. Actually, Superflex makes it a little bit tougher. I still probably rather have Eckler and Lamb. I don't think it's as easy in a Superflex league. I apologize. Andrew says, hey, Mason, 12-team full BBR. I'm a bit limited on the flex options this week. With Achane out, are we going to start Michael Thomas, Elijah Moore, or Josh Reynolds? Tough spot. If Amon-Ra St. Brown missed, I think you'd go Josh Reynolds. If Amon-Ra St. Brown plays, we're going to go Michael Thomas. Isaiah says, what running back do you think I can receive for Kelsey and Moss? If you're selling Kelsey, you are going to need one of 3 backs. CMC, you can't get him. If you go for Bijan, go for Bijan, go for Eckler. If you really needed a running back and you're selling Kelsey, those would be the 3 guys we do it for. Now, Tony says 2 quarterback passing touchdown league. Been offered Anthony Richardson for Watson. We have Hurts and Joshua Dobbs IR slot open. You need to take Deshaun Watson. I understand the thought process here, but the thing is with Anthony Richardson, it sounds like he's not coming back in 4 weeks. Sounds like with Richardson, it's going to be a little bit of a longer term deal, especially if the Colts don't really have a shot at a wild card. I would be surprised if they rush the future of their franchise back from this injury. So I think you want Watson in a super flex. Jay says 2 and 3 need a flex. Should we do Eckler for Swift and Amon-Ra? Or maybe Lamb for Mostert and Higgins? Also Judy or Javonte tonight? We're going to go Judy over Javonte. And I understand that sometimes it'll be a little bit painful if we have a lack of depth. But still, you can't be sending the best player off like this for downgrades elsewhere. If you did make a trade there, you're selling Lamb. I don't even know if we're getting enough to sell Lamb, though. Connor says 3 and 2. Trade Lamb, JSN for Pacheco and Addison. CD to Pacheco, downgrade in the long term, even if Pacheco will crush this week. JSN for Addison. Clearly, we'd rather have Addison. Happy BR format. We're pretty well balanced at running back, wide receiver. I think it is a fair deal and up to you. I know a lot of people are panicking about CD Lamb. I think it'll be better with Lamb going forward. I think that we're just coming off a week where they just played the best defense in the NFL. So obviously it makes sense why a lot of people are worried. Now, Manuel coming out. Thank you, my friend, saying 2 and 3 full BBR format. Fields, Montgomery, Pollard, Tyreek, St. Brown, DJ Smith, Higgins, Kmet, Gibbs, Smith, Montgomery for Eckler. Include Fields for Pat, DJ, Kmet for Kelsey. We're going to have to break down the first one again. I'm confused. I will say I would love to trade DJ Moore and Cole Kmet for Travis Kelce. So let's make that last one, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet for Kelce. Of course, if we could also include selling Justin Fields for Patrick Mahomes in that deal, that'd be a no-brainer. I'm assuming you're asking Jahmyr Gibbs, Devonta Smith, and David Montgomery for Austin Eckler. It is an aggressive price point to go out there and make that deal. Maybe if it's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, we go ahead and we say just get the best player in Austin Eckler. Where if it's a deeper format overall, maybe it'd be a little bit of a tougher spot. I think that does depend on your format, but for sure do the Kelce trade. Redeem says rest of season, Lawrence or Stroud. We're going to go Lawrence over Stroud despite the schedule. Seth says, do we trade Montgomery for Mixon and Pittman or Addison? Honestly, with the Gibbs injury, you probably want to be holding on to Montgomery right now. Maybe we can revisit that trade in a week or two. I don't know if we do it right now. John says Kmet or Waller. We will go Darren Waller over Cole Kmet, even though he looks horrendous. Joe says, would he drop Zay Jones or Tank Dell for Marvin Mims? If you think Judy and or Sutton get traded, I would drop Zay Jones for Marvin Mims. King says trade James Cook, Rashad White for Aaron Jones, Jalen Waddle. James Cook to Aaron Jones. Give me Jones, Rashad White to Waddle. Up to your team. Fair deal. I think it's up to your roster. Steve says get offered Kyron for Devontae Adams, and I said no. My receivers are Moore, Puka, Downs, and Dell. My running backs are Barkley, Mostert, Connor, Pacheco, Javonte, and Swift. Okay, yeah, I mean, you're loaded at running back here. Even with the Connor injury, you're going to be just fine. I think you definitely want Devontae Adams there over Kyron Williams, even if Kyron has a very nice role. If you really wanted to counter him, you could go, man, I'll give you Pacheco for Kyron, especially if Pacheco just blows the doors off this Denver Broncos defense this week. But Devontae Adams is just a no-go. You got to hold on to him. Now, 44 SMU, always happy to see us, says 10-team PBR single flex. We have Tua, Bijan, Waddle, Walker, Thomas, Ridley. And then on the bench, we have Barkley, Flowers, Cooper, Ferguson, Charbonnet, Osborne, Jeff Wilson Jr., Achane. League mate wants Bijan and Waddle for Andrews. Needs some counter offers. This is one of those deals one of those offers that is so bad, I don't even send a counter. Bijan Robinson is worth more than Mark Andrews by a mile, my man. The fact that he is asking for you to add something on, if you wanted to go out there and counter him, I would lowball. I'm like, in my mind, this is an offensive offer. If you wanted to offer him like Devon Achane in a depth wide receiver, like Achane and Flowers for Andrews, then go ahead and send that counter. But yeah, Bijan Robinson by a mile there. Now, one Dutch Don coming out says, what do you think of Adam Thielen and Hollywood Brown for Evans, Judy, Dameon Pierce? Hollywood versus Judy, up to you. Adam Thielen versus Evans, probably give me Evans. I think that we are going from 2 wide receivers to 2 other wide receivers that are about the same and picking up Dameon Pierce for free. So yeah, I'll probably go ahead and make that move, my friend. Crab Vision says PBR drop 1, Rice, Jamison, Tutu. If we had to drop someone, we drop. I would rather wait till we see Rice today. Maybe Tutu, just given the fact that if you have Kupp and Puka, I don't see him really making a difference. And DST starts Patriots or Atlanta. Probably going to go with Atlanta. I mean, at least the Atlanta Falcons are favored in this game. Connor says 1 and 4 PBR format can start 5 receivers. Trade Godwin, Lockett, Sanders for Devontae Adams. So obviously this is a depth where a league where you prioritize depth a little bit more. As long as it's not more than 12 teams, I think you probably just go up, pay for Devontae Adams. The deep end says 10-team BBR single flex. I'm 3 and 2. We have Lamar, Chase, Adams, Pollard, Kyron, Ingram, Olave. And then on the bench, we have Gibbs, London, Ford, Jeff Wilson Jr., Zach Moss. Any moves? Very strong team. I think we've already done a good job of trying to capitalize on some of our depth to go get an upgrade in the starting lineup. The only thing I'd say is if you could, and I'm assuming that we probably can't, but I mean, can't hurt to send an offer, is send one of those depth pieces like Zach Moss with Evan Ingram to see if we can go get DeMarc Andrews to stack up with Lamar. We would go ahead and do that. But like I said, I would operate on the assumption probably can't make that. We can't pull that off. Nick says, do I start Dameon Pierce or Rachaad White as an RB2? I'm going to go Rachaad White in a full PBR format. Ryan says, Sutton, Gibbs, Johnson, JSN, Algier, pick 1 to flex. This range, we will go Sutton, but keep in mind, since he plays on Thursday, you can't play him in your flex. You have to put him at wide receiver 2 and move your wide receiver 2 down to your flex. Marcus says, would you rather start Breece Hall over either DK or Thielen in the flex? We're starting Eckler, Jacobs, Nico, and more. I would start Breece Hall over Adam Thielen. I understand that, yes, Breece Hall has a much tougher matchup going up against Philly. I think this is the week where we actually learn what this Jets offense is going to be. But still, I mean, it's not like the Panthers have a good offense. Steve says, tight end options with Laporta maybe not playing. We actually just put out our tight end rankings right before this, so you can go watch that video. I know someone that's going to be available at pretty much every single one of your waiver wires. Gerald Everett may be viable if you have no Donald Parham. Shane says, double flex, 12-team PBR, Richardson, Goff, HN, JT, Kyron, Bijan, Charbonnet, Roschon, Dowdle, Diggs. Oh my gosh. Brutal. I mean, I understand why we're 1 and 4, right? I mean, you had JT injured at the beginning of the season, but long term, I mean, as you were getting Jonathan Taylor back, you would assume that this would be a phenomenal squad. I think what you probably end up having to do is just take Achane, go send him with like Evan Ingram, or take Anthony Richardson, go send him with Jared Goff. Sell these rookies that just got injured that still have the long-term upside and get any upgrade, literally any upgrade in the starting lineup to stay alive right now. Because even if these guys come back later in the year and they go out there and they dominate, it's going to do us no good if by the time they come back, we're sitting at 3-7 or 3-8, you know. Now, Pit Star says trade Mostert and Jonathan Taylor for Eckler and Brian Robinson. JT to Eckler, give me Eckler in a full BBR format. Mostert to Brian Robinson on a way rather of Mostert. I think it's a fair deal and it's up to you. If it's a shallow league, I'd probably take the best player in Eckler. Andrew says 3 and 2. We have to start 2 flexes. Hall, Bijan, Madison, Swift, JT are running backs. We're going to go Bijan and DeAndre Swift. Wide receiver, we have Kupp, Flowers, Rice, Burks. Burks going to miss this week. We're going to go Kupp and Flowers. And then for our 2 flex spots, we're going to play Breece Hall, and I will play Jonathan Taylor over Alexander Madison instead of prepare that JT expands his role. Steven says Henry, Ryan Robinson as running backs. Are we going to flex Lockett or Ramadre? If you look at my flex rankings, we just made these for this week, my friend. I mean, we actually have them very close. I have Lockett at 55. I have Ramadre at 53. So I will go Lockett. Ethan says pick 2, Hall, Barkley, Swift. We're going to be going with Hall and Swift. And then flex 1, Moss or Collins. I would go Barkley if we could. But if not, we're going to go Nico Collins. Rafa says, I made this trade and want to know what you think. I received Henry, Debo, and Jefferson for Eckler, Puka, Watson. Puka versus Jefferson, probably give me Puka. Watson versus Debo, probably give me Debo. Eckler versus Henry, give me Eckler by a mile. I think, honestly, I do not like this trade. Maybe if you're 5-0, if you're 4-1, and you can think about the long term. With Justin Jefferson, then sure. But obviously, it's tough to get a trade for Jefferson right now. Nick says, need a receiver in a flex. We have Pittman, DK, Hopkins, Osborne. We're going to be going with Pittman and DK, even with Treylon Burks missing, my friend. Jose says, Jefferson out. We got to pick 2. Higgins, Osborne, Hill, Jaleel, or Sutton. Or pick up Chuba Hubbard off the waiver wire. Ooh. I'd probably go KJ Osborne and T. Higgins. And I would pick up Chuba Hubbard off the waiver wire and drop like either Justice Hill or Jaleel. It doesn't really matter. And then if Miles Sanders doesn't play, then we pivot over to Chuba. But if Sanders does play, I mean, you can't start either Carolina back. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from JT says, trade Pollard for Cooper Kupp in a redraft. Happy BR1 quarterback format. We have Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Javonte, Keenan, Amari, Evans. Congrats on all the success, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And honestly, I was going to have an issue with this trade because I was sitting here going, you know what? It's pretty damn close. I think that it is up to you. But actually, after seeing the team here, I would say that we're weak enough at running back where we have no RB2 that we probably just want to be holding on to Tony Pollard. Todd says wide receiver 2 in a flex. Ayuk, Nico, Pittman, and Garrett Wilson. We're going to be going with Pittman and Ayuk. Actually, we'll go Nico and Ayuk. It's very close, though. Very close. I want to follow you if you wanted to go one way or another. Alex says 18 PBR. Trade Kyron and McLaurin for Waddle and Cook. Kyron to Cook, downgrade. McLaurin for Waddle, upgrade. In an 8-team league, I'm probably going to lean with the running back and keep Kyron. Now, Hola says, trade Lamb and Montgomery for Jefferson, Smith, and White. Lamb to Jefferson, give me Lamb. Montgomery versus Smith and White, probably Montgomery. We have Hurts, Javonte, Montgomery, especially if this is our running back room. We're going to keep David Montgomery. Yeah, because I don't know if we have enough depth to get by through the bye weeks, especially with no Jefferson. And then at running back 2, we're just going to be starting, David Montgomery and I guess Javonte? Yeah, not an easy spot. I think you probably have to start Javonte. And because, hell, that's our starting room at running back right now. I don't think we're going to be trading anybody away. Now, Jess coming out saying PBR Cousins or Herbert. We'll go Herbert, especially with no Jefferson. And then flex Nico, Addison, or Hollywood. We will go Nico Collins, expecting a bounce back. JT says, Mason, we screwed up our question. We have Etienne as well. Okay. I apologize. Give me 1 second to find this. Oh, okay. That does make it more appealing. Then honestly, if you have Etienne as well, if you wanted to go get Kupp, I'm not going to fault you for it. I think honestly it is up to you. Yeah. Would have been easy to say if we didn't have Etienne. Bryce says trade Adams and Kittle for Pollard, Laporta, Brian Robinson. Kittle to Laporta, probably give me Laporta. Adams versus Pollard and Brian Robinson, up to you. I think that it honestly is a fair trade. Patrick says 10-team PBR 2 quarterback league, 2 and 3. We have Hurts, Dobbs, Waddle, Wilson, Brees, Stevenson, Kelsey, Thielen. Connor, JSN, Daniel Jones, Watson. Should we trade Kelsey, Stevenson, Watson for Adams, Ingram, and Swift? So Stevenson is Swift, big time upgrade. Kelsey to Adams, kind of up to you. Christian Watson, Evan Ingram, kind of up to you. I think because this team is a little bit of a weaker one, especially after the Connor injury, I think that we can go ahead. I think we can pull the trigger here. I mean, very rarely do I want to sell Travis Kelce. I think it's fair to do so there. J-Rex says Ayuk or Jonathan Taylor at the flex. We'll go Brandon Ayuk this week, probably JT long-term. Payne says, my bad, I got offered Adam Sanders Ridley for Puka, Stevenson, and Herbert. We have Kyron and Bijan. Wilson as running backs as well. Receiver, we have Kupp, Lockett, Watson, Palmer. So going from Puka to Adams, give me Adams. Going from Stevenson to Sanders, give me Stevenson, but who cares? Herbert to Ridley. If this is Justin Herbert, I think we're going to want the Puka, Justin Herbert, Stevenson side. If it's Khalil Herbert, really no value at this point. I think we want the Adams, Sanders, Ridley side. So it definitely matters which Herbert that is. If it's Khalil, go with the Adams side. If it's Justin, go with the Puka side. Now, Dobbs says 10-team map BBR format. We got Fields, Bijan, JT, Tyreek, Flowers, Andrews, Pickens. And then on the bench, Sutton, JSN, Watson, Roshan, Najee, Downs. I'm 2-3. What moves should we look to make? I don't necessarily see that many. I mean, it's not like we have a ton of wide receiver depth here. I would say George Pickens. I mean, he was a buy low guy for us earlier in the year, but now that I think his value, after his value has risen, when you had no Deontay Johnson in here, I think it would make sense to at least just throw him on the trade block and see what you could get. So if we could send like Pickens and Najee to go get to like CeeDee Lamb, I think that'd be a no-brainer. Timothy coming out saying, 12-team PPR 4-1. Traded Ridley Pierce for Henry Kirk. Starters are Jalen Hurts, Ayuk, Kirk, Kyron, Mixon, Goddard. The flex is Henry. And then on the bench, we have Jaleel, Watson, Dobbs, Judy, and Achane. So Ridley to Derrick Henry. With this team, I think you could take Derrick Henry if you wanted. Pierce to Christian Kirk. Honestly, up to you. I think that while, yes, Derrick Henry is scary, and while, yes, should be concerned about Derrick Henry overall, this definitely was a very fair deal to go out there and pay for Henry. Drew says, have BBR trade Pollard, Jacoby for Olave and Swift. Pollard to Olave Pollard to Swift downgrade, Jacoby to Olave upgrade. Fair deal. I'd probably go with the Olave side. I understand why people are so worried about Olave. Obviously, this offense looked horrendous, but they went up against the 49ers. We'll be better going forward. Now, Michael says 4-1. Would you trade Tyreek and Puka for Jefferson and Adam Thielen? I love Hill, but this might be worth it down the stretch. We have St. Brown and Devonta Smith, 18 full PPR format. Puka to Adam Thielen is a downgrade. Tyreek to Jefferson is a clear downgrade. You can't do this, my man. I mean, you were taking on all the risk and not necessarily getting any additional upside. So I'm sorry. I think you have to, no, you have to keep Tyreek and Puka. Daboy Lowe says, I just traded Swift and Watson for Jalen Hurts. We have Connor, Jeff Wilson Jr., JT. Okay, thank God. Good trade. When you started off with James Conner, Jeff Wilson Jr., I was about to tell you, my man, we really need a running back. But if we have JT, Montgomery, Kamara, I think we're completely fine with it. Jay Nayman says, trade Jefferson and Walker for Chase and Brees. Oh, yes, definitely go get Chase and Brees. I mean, I would rather have Walker over Brees, but it's not that far off. And I'd way rather have Chase over Jefferson. Young Dino coming out says, 12-team PBR Superflex and 5-0. Should we trade Higgins and Kyle Pitts for London and James Cook? Higgins over London for me in the long term. James Cook over Pitts. I think it's a fair deal. I think it's up to you. Tyler says, pick 2 PBR. Smith, Pittman, Godwin, Flowers. We are going to be going with Smith and Pittman if Mike Evans plays. And if Mike Evans misses, we'll go Smith and Godwin. Get Flocked says, you the man. Appreciate you. Lamb outlook, buy, sell, or hold. So with CeeDee Lamb, if you stick around in this live stream for a while, my man, you will see that everybody is panicking. We have some off the field stuff. Sounds like he's frustrated with the team, Jerry Jones, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, obviously they just got boat raced by the 49ers. But I don't think CeeDee Lamb is fundamentally a different player. I think, honestly, you just hold. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, way less than 10% of y'all have hit that like button yet. What are you doing? We have live streamed every single day for 167 days in a row. Go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat. You can find it in the description. You can find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK. You're going to be getting a 100% deposit match. You're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Patrick Mahomes special pick of more than less than half a total yard tonight going up against the Broncos. And since it was our birthday this week, Underdog's also on top of it, hooking everybody up that uses promo code FLOCK with a Justin Herbert special pick of more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you take advantage. Tristan says 12-team PPR, send Adams for Olave JT. Low on running back and wide receiver. If you're really low on depth and it's a deeper league overall, I'm okay with it. Jordan says HN hurt, Pollard, Roshan, Gibbs, Javonte, Diggs, Chase, Amari, Ayuk, JSN. We need a better running back. Any suggestions? Go pick up Keontae Ingram off the waiver wire. Play him this week. Hope that Roshan's going to go instead. I mean, the thing is, we don't have like a ton of wide receiver value to go out there and trade for running back. If we send a wide receiver for an RB with this team, then we're just going to turn around and need a wide receiver. So I think we're probably sitting still here, my friend. I think we're probably sitting still. Now, Bull coming out saying, hey, Mason, 12-team PPR 2 and 3. We have Hurts, Kamara, JT, Kyron, Ramondre, Ayuk, Higgins, Myers, Laporta, KJ, JSN, Charbonnet, Deontay. Who to start this week in any moves? We're going to be starting Jalen Hurts, Alvin Kamara, Kyron Williams, Ayuk, Jacoby Myers, and then for the flex, we probably will end up going Jonathan Taylor. And then in terms of any moves, I don't see anything that we want to do right now. I mean, I understand how this team's maybe struggled at the beginning of the year because you did have both the combination of Alvin Kamara and Jonathan Taylor. But going forward, this should be a much better team, my friend, a much better team. Noah says start Rashad White or KJ Osborne. Definitely going to go Rashad White's. I mean, regardless of if Evans plays or not. Riley says, received an offer in my 12-team full PPR format. I trade away Walker and Pittman for Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle. I'm 4-1 so far. What do you think? I think it is a very fair deal, and it's up to you. I think with how things look currently, Jonathan Taylor and Kenneth Walker at a similar range rest of season. You probably prefer Kenneth Walker because Kenneth Walker's already through his bye, but still. And then Pittman for Waddle. I probably prefer Waddle, but it's close. But ultimately, those guys are in the same tier, my friend. So you can go one way or another. I'm not going to fault you for either one. MVS is 0-5. Are we going to waiver Amari or play Javonte tonight? You play Javonte tonight because, I mean, obviously, Keontae Ingram may end up being the guy in Arizona. Now, Charles says flex spot Hopkins, Kirk, or Adam Thielen. Also, is Sauce on Smith? Do we start him or go Hopkins, Kirk, or Adam Thielen? I'm still going to go Smith, to be honest with you. I understand the thought process. I mean, obviously, the Jets secondary is a very tough one to go up against. But I'm not really going to overthink this one here, my friend. I think you want to go ahead. I think that you want to take Devonta Smith. I mean, by far and away the best offense there. Now, Poochie coming out saying 8-team PBR format. We have CMC, Eckler, Fields, Diggs, St. Brown, Higgins. The flex was HN and Flowers, but now we have a deal for Wilson, Brian Robinson for Zay Flowers. Should we do it? I know the team is crazy, been active on the, I mean, just not having CMC, Eckler, and Diggs all together. Congrats. That's amazing. And then, yeah, I honestly think if we have the HN injury, it makes sense to sell Zay Flowers for Garrett Wilson and Brian Robinson, get a little bit more depth here. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, not like Aaron says currently 2-3 in a PBR league. Sell I on Pickens? If so, should we go for I have HN? I'm never selling George Pickens. The wide receivers that I think would be an absolute no-brainer would be Olave, Waddle, Devonta Smith. I think you'd go for Garrett Wilson. I think you'd go for Michael Pittman. I think you'd go for DK Metcalf. I'd maybe even go for Jordan Addison. I mean, really any of those wide receivers that you see in that range of our rankings. Now, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 500 likes on this live stream. If you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button. The Credit Genius says 12-team, 3-wide receiver, full PPR league. We have Diggs, Puka, Debo, Evans, Myers, Palmer, Osborne, Moss, Bijan, Hawkins, and Sanders. Good offered Swift for Puka. Also, Kamara for Debo and Myers. What are your thoughts? 3-wide receiver format. Obviously, wide receiver depth will matter a little bit more. Swift for Puka, fair, up to you. I maybe prefer Swift. And then Kamara for Debo and Myers. Specifically in a league where it's a 3-wide receiver format, 12-team full PPR, I probably look to hold on to the wide receivers. If you only started 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, however, there I think we would pivot over to Kamara. Now, Carlson coming out saying 10-team at PPR double flex. Traded Brian Robinson and Pollard for CMC. Phenomenal. Also, Montgomery, Kamara, Debo for Amon-Ra Walker. Strong deal there as well. And honestly, once we make these deals, looking at the rest of this team, I think you're in a good spot. I don't really see any other trades to be had. As we did go out there in a 10-team double flex format, we did send 5 players, I believe, for 3 in return. So we sold our depth. We got studs in this starting lineup, and that's exactly what we're looking to do in a 10-team league. But we've already done it, so I think we're just chilling. Great team. Now, Drew says both these guys are on the waiver wire. Who's the better stash? Rashee Rice or Quentin Johnson? Thanks. Appreciate you, my friend. We will go Quentin Johnson with the Mike Williams injury. Mario says traded Achane and Piggins for Tyreek. Did I win? You won even if Achane was healthy, my man. Phenomenal deal. Cheese says PBR with Tank Dell likely out. Do we start Robert Woods, Josh Downs, or Rashee Rice Cake? It is up to you. Rashee Rice isn't running enough routes at the moment, so I honestly may end up going with Josh Downs. But Robert Woods did have 9 targets last week. Connor says, happy BR trade Kelsey or Madre for JT, Pittman, and Komet. Kelsey or Madre for JT, Pittman, Komet. Honestly, obviously, Ramadre just has no value at the moment, but I think that you still have to go through. I think you still have to take Travis Kelsey there. I think Kelsey is the best player in the deal there. Okay. I'm going to have to swing this back around to the other page. So just give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. And let me remind you as I do this, hit that like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat. You can find it in the description. You can find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, plus a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em tonight, more than less than half a total yard if you're new to Underdog. And since it was our birthday this week, Underdog hooked everybody up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em that uses promo code FLOCK on Underdog, a more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. Now, swinging this back around. Our next question coming out from Isaiah, who says, Pierce, Madison, Moss, Roschon, A. Brown, Hopkins, Osborne, Judy, Samuel. We need 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex. Will I survive? We're going to be starting Pierce and Moss, A.J. Brown, and Hopkins. And then probably Madison in the flex. We're 3 and 2. I think if we can survive if we work the waiver wire effectively. I mean, if you were 1 and 4, I'd panic, but no, you're good. Oki says 10-team full BBR start 2. Pierce, Jaleel, Javonte, Gibbs, Gainwell, Jeff Wilson. And should we move Lamb for Swift or Montgomery? With how bad this running back room is, I wouldn't fault you for doing so. I mean, here we probably end up having to start the combination of Javonte and Pierce. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather start this week? Would you rather start Jaleel or Javonte? Would you start Jaleel or Javonte? Please let me know in the live chat. Javonte not on the injury report. Jaleel has looked pretty good on a per touch perspective over the past few weeks. Okay. Jaleel, Javonte, Jaleel. Is this everybody's going to vote? Javonte, Jaleel, Jaleel, Javonte. So it does look like it's split about 50-50 in the live chat right now. You could go either way there. You can go either way, my friend. Now, next question coming out from, I believe, Pat, who says, PBR 12-team league, 4-1. We have Lawrence, Spears, Javonte, Ridley, Nico, Ferguson, Lamb, and then on the bench, Gibbs, Walker, Stroud, Jaleel, Samuel, Downs, Keontae, Barkley. Any thoughts or any deals? 4-1, we're thinking long-term. This team looks bad currently, but we have a ton of long-term options, guys coming back from injuries, guys that are rookies that will continue to get better. So honestly, I think we're probably going to keep this team as is, my friend. And yeah, just really hope that like Gibbs, Barkley come back healthy and actually are producing. Now, Woke Riders coming out says 3-2, get Jefferson, give Olave. My current replacements for Jefferson would be London. Honestly, not yet. I don't know if we do this yet. If you wanted to do this in 2 weeks, then sure. But I mean, 3-2 roster, we still need to focus in on winning right now. Uncle Dud says Pollard and Ridley for Montgomery and Ayuk. Pollard and Montgomery downgrade, Ridley to Ayuk lateral move. I'd rather have Pollard, to be honest. Svek says Olave for Henry in the long term. I mean, I think you can go Derrick Henry here. And then Rice or Curtis Samuel for the flex. You can go Curtis Samuel if you want. I think I'd rather have Rice in the long term, though. Now, Rashu says 2 and 3 full BBR format being offered Kyron for Hopkins. I'd way rather have Kyron Williams. Jonathan says 10-team BBR 2 and 3, 3 receivers, 1 flex. We have Purdy, Etienne, Brees, A.J. Brown, Lamb, Puka, and then the flex is Addison Goddard. On the bench, we have Judy, Gibbs, Ferguson, Quentin Johnson, Roschon. Any recommendations? Not necessarily for trades. I think that we would possibly roster 2 quarterbacks here, though. So if you wanted to go ahead, if you wanted to drop the backup tight ends, or maybe there's another backup that we have on this team that we're not yet seeing, and go through and roster 2 guys, Purdy, and then another player off the waiver wire like Stroud, and just play the matchups between the 2. I think we could look to do that. Now, Corbin says, start Javonte or ride with, and we're going to go Javonte. With Arizona, you have no idea who the starting running back's going to be. Carson says, 12-team full BBR format, need receiver depth. Trade Brian Robinson for Jacoby and Deontay Johnson. Or Josh Jacobs, JSN for Devonta Smith, Chris Godwin. We have Bijan Jacobs, Brian Robinson, Mostert, Amari Watson, and lost Mike Williams. So I understand, yes, you feel like we need a wide receiver right now. I think you trade Brian Robinson for Jacoby Deontay Johnson. You just can't do the Josh Jacobs deal. Don't send the Jacobs one out. Now, BFC says, Jefferson out. Should we trade Hall for DJ Moore? No, and Brees Hall has more value than DJ Moore. JB says, have BBR, double flex, send Cup or AJ Brown, and receive Bijan. Hell yes, we do this, my friend. Yeah, especially as we look at these running backs, that'd be fine if you want to sell Cup or AJ Brown. I would just honestly ask the other owner who they wanted. Mike coming out saying, hey, Mason, full BBR start 1 flex. Godwin, Hollywood, Hall, Madison, Robinson. So our running back will be Brian Robinson. Our wide receiver running back will be Brees Hall. Our wide receiver will be Chris Godwin. And then our flex will be Hollywood Brown in a full PPR format. Now, Dill says, Mason the GOAT, appreciate you. 12-team full BBR, single flex. We have Cup, Wilson, JSN, Sky, JT Hall, Spears, Foreman, Waller, Ferguson. Who are you starting and who would you trade for upgrades? Okay, we're going to be starting Cup, Wilson, Hall, JT, then Darren Waller at tight ends. And I hate to tell you this, my friend. I know that it's not what you want to hear, but you're probably going to be sitting on your hands, and I don't think we have enough depth to go out there and afford really any upgrades. Like, I think we sit on our hands and probably just try to accumulate depth through the waiver wire, because I don't know if we're deep enough there, honestly. Now, BC says, pick one: Spears, Hubbard, Ingram. It's rough. I know. It is tough. I don't know, my man. Spears, highest floor. If Miles Sanders misses, obviously it's easy to go Chuba, but I'm assuming Sanders plays in this question. I think Ingram has the highest ceiling with the possibility of just straight up being the guy to Arizona. Ingram for the ceiling, Spears for the floor. Genuine says, what's Pacheco's trade value? I want to sell for a receiver. If you wanted to send Pacheco, if you could get to maybe like Devonta Smith, you could do it. Chris Olave, if you wanted to do that. Or, I mean, hell, maybe even after he crushes the Broncos, you could go out there and see if we can send a small piece with him to go get like CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, I mean, Pacheco should have a great game tonight. Ruben says, 3-2, 10 TPPR. We have Saquon, Brees, Chase, Waddle, Wilson. Just traded for Jonathan Taylor and Justin Jefferson for Waddle and Saquon. Oh, Saquon versus JT, up to you. I would rather have Jefferson over Waddle on a 3-2 team. I think it's a good deal. Obviously, we're going to have to go through and we're going to have to survive until we get them back. But in the 10-team league, it'd be much easier to survive and just chase the high ceiling. Okay. Now, Bullman coming out saying, any idea of Mike Evans or Jordan Addison playing? The news is super vague and not updated. I expect Addison to play. Mike Evans got in a limited practice today as well. I'm going to assume that they play, to be honest with you. I assume that they play. I'm more concerned about Evans. Now, Larry coming out says, I'm 4-1, full BBR. Trade CMC Tua for Allen Etienne in a super flex format. My team is Herbert, Tua, CMC, Keenan, Stephon Diggs, Pittman, and Adam Thielen. Super flex, I still want CMC over Allen. Tua versus Etienne, up to you. I probably go ahead and take CMC and Tua. I think there's a bigger difference in the points per game between Christian McCaffrey and Etienne rest of season than Tua and Josh Allen. Now, Will coming out saying, standard 10-team league, 6-point bonus, 100-yard receiving rushing. White or Wilson? We're going to go White, even if Jeff Wilson Jr. has upside. We want to see him first. And then Nico, Kirk, or roll the dice with Rice tonight. We're going to go Nico Collins there for the flex spot, my friend. Now, Primo says, I just traded 2 2024 firsts for Bijan. Happy BR Dynasty. Hell yes, my man. So, I mean, you still have Bijan worth 2 first-round picks this offseason, right? So, it's not like you lose any long-term value here, while at the same time, you pick up someone that's going to produce for you right now. Vic says, rest of season, Pollard or Jacobs. I will go Pollard over Jacobs rest of season. Zan says, my only tight end is Waller. I don't want to start him against the Bills. I want to pick up Logan Thomas. Should we drop Rasheed, Najee, Stroud, or Quentin Johnson? You would drop Rice. In reality, I probably keep Rice and instead just play Darren Waller over Logan Thomas, but that's just me. Cranabo says, full BBR, start Judy or JT this week. I will go JT. I'm expecting that he does expand his role. And Timothy says, trade Hawkinson, White, Wilson for Kelsey, Pierce, Ridley. I'm higher on Hawkinson and Wilson than most, so this is hard. I mean, yeah, obviously Hawkinson's going to go out there and crush with no Jefferson especially. Wilson or Ridley? Give me Ridley. White to Pierce, up to you. Hawkinson and Kelsey. I agree. I am very excited about Hawkinson going forward, but I still think we should go ahead and take Travis Kelsey there, my friend. Now, Rodrigo says full BBR 10-team 3-2. We have Fields, Watson, Eckler, Pollard, Chase, Olave, Higgins, Kmet, Kittle, Watson, Gainwell, Rice. Just lost Achane and Connor. What should we do? Well, we're getting Eckler back in, my friend. So I hate to give you this answer. I know it's the most boring answer. We do nothing. I mean, here, I think that you are in a great spot at running back currently. Obviously, it's tough losing these guys, but you will just be fine at the end of the day. I mean, I would probably rather start Pollard and Eckler over these guys anyway. The only thing I'd say is if we had them healthy, I'd probably go through and I'd probably see if we can package together maybe a depth wide receiver in Fields to go get Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts level player. But Probably can't because we have those injuries. Andy says starting Rice over Amari with the news that Watson might not play and they play San Fran. Am I crazy? By the way, you're the best at fantasy football. They don't call you the best fantasy football player. They call you Mason. Appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. And let me ask the live chat this, because I still go ahead. I still take Amari over Rashee Rice, but I completely understand based off what we saw this past week. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather play? Would you rather play Amari Cooper with no Deshaun Watson going up against San Francisco? Or would you rather play Rashee Rice tonight? Please let me know. Amari or Rice? We got one vote for Rice. Amari. Amari Rice. Amari Rice. It looks like this is actually split. Amari, that's a tough one. Amari. I honestly, Tedward says Browns fan here. Rice easily. Maybe my brain's broken. I honestly still go Amari. I go Amari and maybe send up a prayer that Deshaun Watson's going to go. To Infinity says, have BBR pick 3, Etienne, Swift, Mostert, and Pacheco. Oh, we have to bench one of these guys. Just freaking brutal. Oh my gosh. What's the pick'em on Underdog? Let's go through and let's look at the pick'ems of these guys. So I want to say to bench Pacheco, but in this matchup, it may be hard to. They have Pacheco at 91.5 total yards against the Denver Broncos defense. Whereas if we go ahead and if we pull up DeAndre Swift, they have Swift probably about the same. If they did a total yardage mark, it'd be about 90. Then where do they have ETN? $71 rushing yards, so about 90 total probably. Oh my gosh. I maybe end up benching Pacheco. As crazy as it sounds. Just most of it in my mind with no HN. He was the number 1 scoring player in fantasy through the first 3 weeks. That's someone I want in my starting lineup. Now, Joaquin coming out says, Mason, I need your help badly. Have BBR, I'm 1-4 and need to shake things up. Are these trades worth it? CMC Flowers for AJ Brown Keenan. Then Keenan for Kenneth Walker or Diggs Pierce for Amon-Ra Addison. Hell no to the CMC deal. Please keep Christian McCaffrey. So we're not going to be able to make the Keenan one. And then Diggs Pierce for St. Brown Addison. Diggs to St. Brown downgrade. Pierce to Addison upgrade. To be honest with you, my friend, I think you're doing the opposite of what I would want. You're going through and you are taking the best player and the 4th best player in the deal and sending them for the 2nd and 3rd. I would rather send the 2nd and 3rd best players in the deal for the best and the worst player in the deal. So I agree in you wanting to mix it up. I don't think that's how you do it, though. Michael says, my bad. Forgot to say it. It's A.J. Brown in the deal. So I get A.J. Brown, Jefferson, Adam Thielen for Tyreek and Puka. Love the concept, by the way. Oh, okay. I'm super sorry if I missed over this, my friend. Okay. So Tyreek to A.J. Brown downgrade. Puka to Thielen. Puka to Jefferson, call it a lateral move. We pick up Adam Thielen for free. It's much, much closer. And if you wanted to go out there, if you wanted to roll the dice on Jefferson, you can. But obviously, you are risking it. Nora says, Ramondre and Terry for Gabe Davis. I'm full at RB. No, you need more, my man. You need more. Drake and Gabe Davis for Pittman. Should we get more? 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. Sure, you can go ahead and do it. Now, Joe coming out saying, 12-team BBR, any moves? We have Lamar, Bijan, Boss, Jaleel, Keontae, Charbonnet, Chase, Puka, Zay Flowers, Judy, Johnson, Boyd, Logan Thomas. Traded Christian Watson for Jerry Judy and Quentin Johnston. Okay. fine deal there, especially if you think that Jerry Jeudy ends up getting dealt out of Denver. I would like some more running back depth, but in reality, we're already doing a good job going out there and rostering running backs on the bottom end that have access to upside. So I don't think the team is super strong as of now, but I think you're putting yourself in a good position to have a super strong team down the road. Cap for Life coming out says, hey bro, 14 team BBR. We need one of Palmer or DeMarcado. We're going to go Palmer in a full BBR format. I don't want to have to roll the dice and it end up being Keontae Ingram in Arizona. What's the status of Foreman in Chicago? Should we drop my QB2 to pick up Dowdle? No, we do not do that, my friend. I would rather pick up Deonta Foreman to do that. 14-team league, keep the backup QB. With Deonta Foreman, everything is really up in the air in Chicago, right? We don't know about Roschon. We don't know about Herbert. We don't know exactly what the role would look like for Foreman. I will keep you posted. I will definitely talk about this in depth on that live stream on Saturday with all the last minute injury updates. But I'm going to have to refresh this to keep bringing these questions up. And as I do this, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, please go down there, hit that like button if you have not done so already. I mean, we have live streamed for 160 days in a row. We're going to live stream every single day until 2024. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you'll get a 100% deposit match to Underdog. Plus, you will get our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers and a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for the game tonight. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, a Justin Herbert special pick'em on Monday. Underdog never does two special pick'ems the same week, but it was our birthday this week, so they allowed us to hook you up. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. Super excited we were able to get all of that for you. Now, moving this around, our next question coming out from Yazan says, Myers and Brian Robinson for Metcalf and Downs. Up to you. Fair deal. I don't think Downs really has any value, but Metcalf is the best player in the deal. Landon says, do we trade Jacobs? If so, for who? Do not trade Jacobs. The man has an incredible workload. That kid Nick says, one running back start two. Judy, Sanders, JT, Moss, Roschon, Chuba. We're going to go with JT, and we're going to hold off. If Roschon plays and Herbert doesn't, we'll go Roschon. If Miles Sanders doesn't play, we'll go Chuba. And if that situation doesn't shake out, then we'll go Miles. Actually, we'll probably end up going Zach Moss. If both Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard are both active and they split the backfield, you can't start either one. Now, Rest has traded Thielen for Ayuk. What are your thoughts? Great move. Great move. Charles says, how about the flex? Kirk Thielen or DeAndre Hopkins? I'm going to go Adam Thielen there, my friend. Now, Dewey Golf says, Kenneth Walker or David Montgomery rest of season. In the short term, you definitely want Montgomery over Walker with Gibbs injured and with Gibbs not really having a super large role. In the long term, I think I may rather have Kenneth Walker at the end of the season if Gibbs does eventually expand his role. And Kenneth Walker's already through his bye, so you're going to get an extra week. Connor says, rate the starting lineup for this week. Mahomes, Walker, Montgomery, Keenan, Ridley, and then Godwin, T, Judy on the bench. Flex, Kyron, oh, great deal. And we have freaking Travis Kelce in here. So we have the Mahomes, Kelce stack. Not so team, my man. Wishing you the best of luck for tonight. Now, Callie Jack says, PBR, who to flex? Thielen, Addison, Jeff Wilson Jr. I think we want to go ahead. We want to play, oh my gosh. If you look at Jordan Addison and Adam Thielen in our rankings this week, we do have these guys pretty close. I have Thielen at 37 and Addison at 40 in our flex rankings. You probably want to go Thielen, but it's damn close. I think Addison's a more exciting play. Pape said, it is Khalil Herbert, my bad brother, but thank you. No, thank you so much, my man. I'm sorry for the hassle. Connor coming out says, should I trade Sam Laporta to get Jalen Waddle or Amari? It's a 3 wide receiver double flex where we already have Kelce. I would do this deal for Jalen Waddle. Specifically, if it's a spot where you are highly incentivized to build around wide receiver depth like these league settings, I think you probably want to go ahead and get the extra receiver. This isn't like a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league where tight end's going to make a big difference. Jason says, should we play Tyler Algier or Jaleel? I think most people have Jaleel. Oh, let me ask. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather play? Would you rather play Algier or Jaleel? Algier or Jaleel? Please let me know in the live chat. Okay. We got a vote for neither. Okay, thank you for the help, my friend. We got a vote for Jaleel, another vote for Jaleel. Jaleel. Looks like everybody's saying Jaleel over Algier. I want to be on record saying Jaleel is not exciting for this week, okay? Neither is Algier either, so I'm not going to follow you if you want to go Jaleel. Just don't have high expectations. Now, Waldo coming out says 3-2, 12-team PPR. We have Field, CMC, Pacheco, Waddle, Puka, Kittle, DK, JT, Boss, KJ on the bench. Good offer, Diggs for Waddle and Pacheco. What are your thoughts? Thank you. No, thank you so much, my man. So here, I think, you're going to kick yourself for making this deal because Isaiah Pacheco is going to just destroy this Denver Broncos defense tonight. But with that being said, long term, especially if we have guys like JT down on the bench, you're in a very comfortable position where I do think that we want to go ahead. We probably want to make this move, my friend. Now we need to refresh this so we can keep bringing these questions up. Our next question will be coming out from Mo. Yes, Travis Kelce is healthy. Please play Travis Kelce. I see some people asking about that in the live chat. If you sit Kelce, you're going to be in a world of pain. World of pain if you sit Kelce. Okay. Now, Mo coming out saying, free agents are Tank Dell, Najee Harris, Rachaad White, Downs, Palmer, Rondale, Curtis Samuel, Rice. The bench looks like Keontae Ingram, Roshan Spears, Lockett. Okay. I actually really like this question. I would drop Tajee Spears for Najee Harris. I would drop Keontae Ingram for Rachaad White. And then outside of that, we're not going to do anything else. And I don't think it's up for debate. I think you need to have those players on your team. If you can pick them up for free off the waiver wire, you have to do it. Now, Brandon says, hey, Mason, who should we start? Full BBR, 2 receivers and a flex. We have Ertz at quarterback. Smith, Wilson, Godwin, Moss, JT, KJ, Palmer, Michael Thomas. We're going to be going with Smith at wide receiver. Actually, we're probably going to go. I'll just let you know where these flex are, guys. We're going to go with Smith, Wilson, Godwin, or JT. Those are the guys. So Smith, if you look at our flex rankings, is 31 this week. Garrett Wilson in our flex rankings is 39. Chris Godwin's 44 and JT's 47. Probably end up going with those 3 wide receivers. Probably those 3 receivers. Now, Draco coming out says, traded Puka and Stevenson for St. Brown and Brees before week 5. Now we have Lamar, Kenneth Walker, Adams, Kupp, Pitts, Evans, then St. Brown, Zay, Nico, Dobbs, Purdy. 3-2. Any suggestions? 10-team PPR format. Great deal. Great deal. If we have this kind of wide receiver depth, then maybe we can afford to go out there and see if we could send say Nico Collins and Kyle Pitts or Zay Flowers and Kyle Pitts to get to the Andrews or Hawkinson tier. I think that would be even better. AP says good offered Andrews, Rachaad White for Brees. I already have Bijan Jacobs, but I'm weak at tight end. What are your thoughts? I think it is a very fair deal and it's up to you. I think the vast majority of people in this live stream would tell you to go ahead and would tell you to go with Brees Hall, but I think honestly it's very close. Expired coming out saying 10-team full BBR format. 3-2. We have Tua, Brees, James Cook, Lamb, Amon-Ra, Kupp, Goddard. The bench is Dak, Foreman, Dobbs, Gibbs, Ertz, and Devon Achane on the IR. Any moves to improve? Not necessarily. Dobbs was a sell-high guy for us last week, but now you're not going to get anything for him. In reality, losing Achane kind of just makes it where we don't have the depth anymore where we can afford to make an upgrade in the starting lineup. And instead, we're going to be turning our attention to, over the next few weeks, trying to find another player off the waiver wire that's going to improve our depth overall. Noah says, hey, Flockers, running back trade upgrades in PPR format, currently 4-1. We have Allen, A.J. Brown, Diggs, Puka, Lockett, Thielen, Moore, Gibbs, Moss, Ford, Brian Robinson, and Pierce. So trying to think through this. I don't necessarily think so. I mean, Jerome Ford was a sell-high guy for us a while back. Now you're not going to get anything. We have a lot of depth at the running back position. I think we just have to go through and figure out who we're going to be starting from a week-to-week perspective and hope that one of these guys pops. Now, Jack says trade Mike Kelsey for Hawkinson and Jonathan Taylor. Very fair deal. I think you can make this deal if you need depth. Ryan says full BBR league. Do we start Pittman or DJ Moore? I will go DJ Moore over at Pittman. Jonathan says, someone wants to trade me Jonathan Taylor or Breece Hall for Adam Thielen. Should I trade, and if so, for which? Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, same tier for me. I mean, I would do either one. I think trading Adam Thielen for one of these guys would be an absolute no-brainer. Nathan says 10-team PPR. We have Herbert, Bijan, Jacobs, Ford, Gibbs, White, Diggs, Waddle, Nico, Pickens, Hollywood, Hawkinson, Laporta. Trade ideas on who we should trade. We are 4-1. Okay. I think Laporta is a clear sell-high candidate if we have TJ Hawkinson on the squad. If you could send maybe, say, like Sam Laporta and Jerome Ford and go get to a running back in like the Jonathan Taylor range, I think that would be a no-brainer, my friend. Now, Jay Nayman says, 1-4, should we trade Higgins and Richardson for a receiver? Or should we be more worried about quarterback? We have Deshaun and Geno. My other receivers are, I think we would trade them for a receiver. Sucks. I do think that T. Higgins has a lot of long-term upside, but you're really not going to be able to play him until like week 8. And obviously, Richardson, I mean, we're selling at a very low point, but you kind of have to. Okay. Now, Xavier says Lamb, Andrews, and DK for Kelsey Smith in a triple flex, so super deep format. Tight end's going to make up a very low percentage of your starting lineup output from a week-to-week perspective, my friends. So honestly, this is the kind of league where I don't care nearly as much about tight end. And if we're going to start 9 skill positional players on a week-to-week perspective, I think we go Lamb, Andrews, and DK Metcalf relatively easily in this format. Ben says, thoughts on Jeff Wilson? Should we start him or Joshua Palmer? I think Jeff Wilson has upside. I think he comes in and he backs up Raheem Mostert. Definitely should roster him in case something changes, but you can't start him his first week back in. You go Palmer. Ho-Oh says, start 3 at BBR, Judy, Addison, T, Amari, and Keontae. We're going to be going Addison, Judy, and then T, Amari, Keontae, kind of up to you. Probably T. Higgins, if T. Higgins plays, and Deshaun Watson doesn't. If Watson is out and they're going up against the 49ers, I don't think Amari is playable. SS says, Gabe Davis or Judy in the flex. We have Allen. It's a PPR format. So if you looked at my wide receiver rankings this week, we had Gabe Davis at 34, and we had Jerry Jeudy at 35. So it's really just going to be up to you. Now, Marcus says Kamara, Debo, Michael Thomas for Pollard, Lockett, and Josh Reynolds. Kamara to Pollard, give me Pollard. Thomas to Lockett, up to you. We're essentially, the trade is we're sending Alvin Kamara and Debo for Tony Pollard. If you don't need wide receiver depth, it's like a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, completely fine making this trade. Space Ghost says 10-team full BBR double flex. We lost Jefferson. We have Herbert, Bijan, Pollard, Breece, Charbonnet, Warren, Jaleel, Nico, Drake, Watson, JSN, Quentin Johnson, TJ Hawkinson. Any moves? We are 3-2. Okay. 3-2 double flex format. Losing Jefferson's not the end of the world. Definitely not ideal. We have decent running back depth. We have wide receivers for the long term, just not the short term. I think all I want to make sure we are doing is we are not rostering a backup quarterback. You are not rostering a backup tight end. We are rostering as many running backs and wide receivers as we possibly can here with upside. As long as we're doing that, I think you are in a good spot. Nezreal coming out says traded St. Brown Kamara for Jefferson Chuba Hubbard. I'm 4-1. Kamara to Chuba and Olave is a downgrade. St. Brown to Jefferson. You did not get enough value here. However, since it's an 8-team league, we're 4-1. I'm fine overpaying a bit. Roy says, hey, Mason, love the channel. Thank you. Should we start Javonte tonight or wait for Roschon to clear? We have Spears on the bench. If you think Roschon clears, you go do it. What's an issue is with the new concussion protocol this year, most players have missed a week, but Roschon did get the concussion on Thursday, not Sunday. So you would think maybe the extra 3 days moves the needle. So I don't know. If you think Roschon clears, I'd rather have Roschon over Javonte, but I would rather have Javonte over Tajay Spears. Now, AJB says 12-team PBR 5-0. We have Watson, Chubb, Henry, Najee, Akers, Chase, Cup, Evans, Nico, Mooney, KJ Laporta, Ingram in a double flex format. What running back and maybe wide receiver should we target? I think here, if you're 5-0, this is a team where you can afford to go out there and trade for one of those long-term pieces, whether that's Jefferson or Devon Achane. So if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to send like Mike Evans or Nico Collins or both those players, if you could maybe say Nico Collins and Evan Ingram, Mike Evans and Evan Ingram, see if we can go get Justin Jefferson on a 5-0 roster where we have Sam Laporta like this, I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, Mango says full BBR flex spot, Thomas Sanders or Jaleel. We will go with Thomas here in a full BBR format. DK says 0-5, Weston James on Discord. Mahomes, Cole Kmet for Goff, Kamara. Need running back depth. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, my man. I understand needing running back depth. Maybe I'm not high enough on Kamara. I think that I still probably don't make this deal. I think I still probably hold on to DK Metcalf, but it's a complete, I don't want to say it's unfair. I completely understand where you're coming from if you did want to make that. Now, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like only about 9% of y'all have hit that like button. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK. You're going to get a 100% deposit match, our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for tonight's game. And since it's our birthday, Underdog also hooked y'all up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for the Monday night game on top of that. So please make sure you are taking advantage. Super happy that we're able to get y'all all of that. But our next question coming out from, I believe Drew says, 1-4, 10-team BBR Superflex. We have Lawrence, Walker, Montgomery, Ridley, Chase, Goddard, Kamara, Osborne. And then on the bench, we have Stroud, Ford, Palmer, Reynolds, Zach Ertz. Any moves? Who's our second quarterback in the starting lineup? You say Lawrence, and then I don't see another quarterback, and you say we have Stroud on the bench. For the love of God, play CJ Stroud in the Superflex spot. If you're playing KJ Osborne in the Superflex spot over CJ Stroud, please fix that ASAP. We don't really have enough depth to go out there and make too many upgrades in the starting lineup right now. And those would be typically the trades that we're looking for on a 1-4 team. So I don't really see any trades that we would make. The only thing I would say is I would 100% go out there and see if we could start Stroud if we don't have another quarterback. Maybe I'm missing one. Maybe I'm blind. Now, Tulip coming out saying, traded Lamb for Kamara. We have Stevenson, Gibbs, Warren Spears. We are great at wide receiver, win or loss. I would rather have Lamb over Kamara rest of season. You specifically really needed a running back, so I'm fine with the move. I don't want to say you want it, though, because I do think I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb. In a vacuum, that is. Indo says, full BBR Montgomery, Goddard for Watson, Brees, and Pitts. Montgomery over Brees, Goddard versus Pitts. Up to you. Probably Goddard. And Watson's not going to move the needle. I'd rather have Montgomery with the Gibbs injury. Omar says, start Fields or Herbert? Ask the chat, please. Okay, apparently my opinion doesn't matter. Everybody, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Justin Fields or Justin Herbert in your starting lineup this week? Justin Fields or Justin Herbert? Let's see. We got one vote for Herbert. Fields. Herbert, Fields. Herbert, Fields, Herbert, Fields, Herbert. So it does sound like it's split about 50-50. Now, RGB says, drop one in a PBR keeper league. Sutton, Zay, Dell, or Rice. I think we go Zay Jones. I mean, you actually had Christian Kirk playing in 2 wide receiver sets when Zay Jones was healthy this week. Now, Miggs says, have PBR start 1. Sutton, Jeff Wilson Jr., P. Ryan, Charbonnet, DJ Chark. We will go Courtland Sutton, even if it is disgusting, my friend. Also, we get to see him this week. Just remember, if you're playing anybody on Thursday night, don't put him in your flex. Put him at wide receiver 1. Put him at running back 1. And then move whoever your running back 1, wide receiver 1 is down to your flex. Yasha's Kiss, can I survive the IR stints for Achane and Jefferson, or do we think we need to make a move? We have Mahomes, Amari, Wilson, Taylor, Hall, Logan Thomas, White. And then on the bench, we have Pitts, Pickens, Spears. So we have a good team. I think we can survive. The only thing I'd say is if it's a 1-4 team, if it's a 2-3 team, if it's an 0-5 team, I don't want to roll the dice and test it out to see if we can get these guys back in the long term. I would just look to sell them and get someone in right now. But with that being said, if it's like a 4-1 roster, I think that you do have enough production here. Now, leftovers again coming out says trade JT Moss Waddle for CD and Swift. It's a 10-team half PPR format. Waddle to Lamb, give me Lamb. JT and Moss versus Swift, give me JT and Moss. I think it's a fair deal. I think it's up to you. Zach says 12-team half PPR dynasty. I'm sorry. Yeah. Should we trade Amari and Myers for JT and JSN? Yes, we go ahead and do this. I think JSN expands his role in the long term. I mean, I'm just shocked here that this is what it's come to in Dynasty. In a redraft league, I would do this. In Dynasty, it is just an absolute no-brainer. Now, John coming out says 10-team PBR 2 and 3. We have Fields, Kupp, Puka, Swift, Laporta, Godwin, Barkley, Achane, Lockett, Romandre, and Spears. Any moves that we should look to make? I would love to get in a time machine and tell you to sell Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, it's too late, though. Saquon Barkley coming back. We have more than enough depth. If this was a 12-team league, I'd say you need to go through and you probably need to sell Achane and just get some value right now. But honestly, we're just fine chilling as is. We're fine chilling as is. Now, Bobby Licious says start Kittle or Goddard, DSD this week, the Jets, Indy, or Atlanta. We're going to go Kittle over Goddard. And can't play the Jets against Philly. Indy's a 4-point dog against Jacksonville. And Atlanta's a 2.5-point favorite. We will go with the Atlanta Falcons. Gabe says, do I gamble the Roschon concussion or start Jaleel? Or pick up Hubbard and drop one of them? I think we gamble the Roschon concussion. And then if we needed to go through and if we needed to pivot to Hubbard, we do. And keep him as our backup play. Okay. Let me refresh this. And as I do, please subscribe, hit that like. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog, promo code FLOCK, link in the live chat, link in the description, link in the comment section. 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Plus for tonight, a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. And since it was our birthday this week, Underdog also hooked y'all up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em as well, more than less than half a total yard for Monday night. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, I'm 44 MSU, always happy to see us, says 10-team happy BR 4-point passing touchdown. We get Hurts, Jacobs, Andrews for Bijan, Tua, Waddle. We have Walker, Barkley, HN, AJ streaming tight end. Tua to Hurts, give me Hurts. Bijan to Jacobs, clearly give me Jacobs. Waddle to Andrews. If you need a tight end, give me Andrews. I think you are giving up the best player. It is a fair deal to go out there and get the elite quarterback and tight end if you wanted one, though. Now, Alejandro says, trade Pollard and Ridley for Hill. Yeah, I think you're going to go out there. If you have enough depth at running back, go pay this for Tyreek. Cheap Burp says, Kyron for Puka, or do you think we need to add a piece? I'd probably, honestly, I think it's your call based off your team need. I'm not going to add a piece to go to either guy. Slayton says, Keontae Ingram or Jake Ferguson for the flex. I will go Keontae Ingram in the flex. Never flexing a tight end. Now, Erlin says, hey, Mason, Sanders my running back too. Who do we start in his place, McKinnon or Ahmed? We're going to go McKinnon if that's the best option. And then in the flex spot, we are going to go ahead. We will play Cortland Sutton there. Under the assumption Miles Sanders misses, of course. Chris says, PBR start 1, Judy, Roschon, Amari, JSN, Justice, Rondale Moore. We will go Jerry Judy without knowing if Roschon will be good to go. Now, Mosa coming out says, get off for Thielen for Hollywood Brown. Do I do it? I think it's a fair deal. I think it's honestly your personal preference. Prohibit coming out saying, I'm having a tough time accepting a Jefferson trade offer. I'm 4-1. We have Diggs, DJ Moore, Puka, Amari Zay on the bench. Do we give up Puka for Jefferson or ride it out with Puka? If it is a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format where wide receiver is going to be easily replaceable and we're just chasing the highest ceiling possible. If it's that 2 wide receiver, single flex league, then we will go ahead and we will look to take Jefferson. If it's a deeper format where it's much harder to replace that wide receiver production, then we probably keep Jefferson, my friend. I'm sorry, probably keep Puka. Now, Jay Magnum says, choose 3 rest of season. JSN, Quentin, Mims, Downs, Jameson. We're going to go JSN, Quentin, Johnston easily. The other 3 is where we have to decide, and we will go Jameson. We'll go all 3 first-round picks. Nino says, Flexbot, Abby BR, Amari Kittle, or Sutton. Ugh. Probably Sutton with no Deshaun Watson. Isaac says 2 to start, Puka, Debo, Garrett Wilson, Nico, and Adam Thielen. We're to be going with Puka and Nico Collins. Richard says Sutton over Garrett Wilson this week. No, go Garrett Wilson even in a tough matchup against Philly. Now, David says 12-team full BBR. Thoughts on these trades? JT for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kyron and Judy for Olave. Definitely Kyron and Judy over Olave. I'm fine if you wanted to trade JT for Amon-Ra St. Brown in a full PBR format. Another league, I traded JT and Dell for Devontae Adams. Yeah, great Adams deal for sure. Great Adams deal for sure. Sorry, the dog just busted in here. Let me close the door. Okay, so now our next question coming out from Basil says, I have Ramondre and Madison. Should I trade one for Brian Robinson? If you wanted to trade, I mean, either guy for Brian Robinson, I'm fine with it. What about Breece Hall? I would 100% trade them for Breece Hall. Started 3-0, currently 3-2. Henry's my other running back. I would trade either guy in a heartbeat for Breece Hall. I think you would have to do that. Regarding Brian Robinson, that one's up to you. Now, Cheap Herb says start 2 running backs and 2 flexes. Etienne, Swift, Kyron. Oh my gosh, nasty team, my man. We're definitely starting all 4 running backs here. I mean, bench Collins, and then between Etienne, Swift, Kyron, Jacobs, Walker, Montgomery, we have to find a way to bench 2 of these guys. Montgomery's a must-start player. Etienne's a must-start player. So for our flex spots, we're going to be choosing between Swift, Kyron, Jacobs, and Kenneth Walker. We need 2 of these players. I just updated our flex rankings to let you know where we put these players. We put DeAndre Swift at 20. I put Kyron Williams at 19. I put Kenneth Walker at 17 and Josh Jacobs at 16. So they are all literally back to back to back to back in our flex rankings. So my rankings would say you play Jacobs and Walker. So you go Etienne, Jacobs, Walker, Montgomery. But as long as you are going to be playing 4 running backs and benching Nico Collins, I'm fine with it. Great team. Scheme says start Olave, Metcalf, or Thielen. We're going to go Olave, my friend. Now, Big Wolf coming out saying 12-team PPR. We have Richardson on the IR. We have Russ, Jacobs, Barkley, Eckler, Spears, Diggs, Watson, Collins, Hollywood, Osborne, Kelsey. Any changes you would make? Okay. Not necessarily. I mean, if we could find a way to upgrade quarterback, I would. If you were, say, like 1-4 or 2-3 or 0-5 and needed points right now, I would even go through and see if we can sell Anthony Richardson and Russ and just get any viable quarterback in the short term. But especially if we were getting rumors regarding, I mean, Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton possibly being traded out of Denver. Really hard to see Russ as a long-term viable option. Okay. Now, Ted Word coming out saying, full BBR, start 3. Walker, Jacobs, Pacheco, or Kyron. I hate to say this. Pacheco is the best matchup you could ever imagine. I'd probably start Walker, Jacobs, and Kyron. It's so close, though. Really up to you. Zach says, 12-team at BBR Dynasty. Should we trade Amari? Okay, we already answered this. Yes, let's go ahead. And for sure, if you're 1-4, you make this deal. Go get JT at JSN. Jacoby says, 12-team full BBR double flex. We have Mahomes, Etienne, Kyron, Lockett, Myers, Ferguson, Smith, McLaurin. The bench is Sutton, Spears, Michael Wilson, Rondale Moore, Logan Thomas, Deonta Foreman, Aaron Jones on the IR, 2-3. Any moves? Thanks, Mason. Appreciate you, my man. 12-team double flex format. Depth's going to matter a little bit more. It's going to be nice getting Aaron Jones back from the bye. Then we can slide Aaron Jones into one of those flex spots, bench Terry McLaurin. It's not like we have too much depth on this team. We have 2 tight ends that we can go back and forth starting every week. Wide receiver depth. I mean, we're pretty much going to be playing the matchups here. So I think it's a very well-constructed team. We don't have the backup quarterback either when we have Mahomes. I think we're just going to be chilling on our hands and really hoping that we get Aaron Jones back in soon. Now, Wavy says 10-team full BBR format, 2-3. We have Lamar, Lamb, Hopkins, Etienne, Mostert, Kelsey, Judy, Javonte, Boyd, Dalvin, CJ Stroud, Palmer. Any recommendations and who should we start? We're going to be starting Etienne, Mostert at running back. Receiver, we're going to be going Lamb and DeAndre Hopkins. The flex spot, we're probably going to end up having to play someone from tonight in. Yeah, we probably have to play Jerry Jeudy, but keep in mind, since he plays tonight, you put him at wide receiver 2, move Ridley down to the flex. I'm assuming we have Richardson on the IR. If Richardson's on a bench spot and we're rostering 3 quarterbacks here, we have to drop a QB. And honestly, even if we have Lamar, I wouldn't mind throwing CJ Stroud on the trade block and seeing if we can package like CJ Stroud and Jerry Jeudy to go get an upgrade at wide receiver for that flex spot when we have Lamar. Levi says 10-team PBR format. We have Lawrence, Montgomery, Swift, Diggs, Ridley, Laporta, Kyron. On the bench, JT, White, Javonte, Nico, Hopkins, JSN, Richardson, Any moves should we trade Hopkins for T. Higgins? So if we're looking at this team, you're going to be starting Diggs and Ridley. So then down there on the bench, you have like JT, White. So ultimately, the trades that this team should be making is we should just be trying to focus in on long-term upside and don't really care about the floor of a player. So even if Hopkins will be a better option in the short term, in the long term, I think we would prefer going out there and getting T. Higgins. I think that'd be a good move for this team. Craig says, should we trade Metcalf, Javonte, Zay for JT and McLaurin? Zay to McLaurin, slight down. Or let's go Javonte, McLaurin. Who cares? Metcalf and Zay Flowers or Jonathan Taylor. Give me Jonathan Taylor. Or trade Metcalf, Geno for Mixon and Anthony Richardson. It's a super flex spot. A super flex league, probably not going to make that deal just because obviously it's going to be much harder to backfill that quarterback production for the time being. I think that you can make the first trade if you would like. Demi says, why so low on Hopkins? Each week, healthy, 10 plus targets. Let me pull this up, my friend. Here are the points the Tennessee Titans have scored from a week-to-week perspective. 15, 27, 3, 27, 16. It's the bottom 10 in the NFL offense. This is a team that when they're up, they want to run the ball. DeAndre Hopkins is a wide receiver in year 10. He's at a slightly higher risk for injury. And he's, while getting the volume, we've seen the drop-off in efficiency. Blame it on Tannehill. Blame it on Hopkins. But he does not look like he has wide receiver one upside in a horrendous offense. And I would probably rather have someone like Higgins, where if he does manage to get fully healthy coming out of the bye, and Burrow manages to get fully healthy coming out of the bye in week 8, you would rather go through and have that kind of upside. It's more of an upside case versus a floor case. Now, Jason says traded depth for Ayuk. Hit the waiver wire. 12-team PPR format. We have Tua, Diggs, Waddle, Pierce, James Cook, Ayuk, Waller, White, Wilson, Spears, Achane, Quentin Johnson, Jameson. The thing is, you have no, like, and I know it's like you're tired of hearing me say, oh yeah, we can't really make any moves with this team. But I think you've made the right play. I really do like this team. However, when you're seeing this, who on the bench will someone trade for? Nobody's going to trade for Spears. Nobody's going to trade for Johnston. Nobody's going to trade for Javonte, you know? So when we look at a team like this, you did the right move. We upgraded the starting lineup, but once you do that and we backfill from the waiver wire, those guys that we picked up off the waiver wire, we really don't have an option but to see them hopefully break out and provide some upside and then look to sell because nobody's going to buy them the day after you picked them up off waivers. Clay says, would you trade CMC and Smith for Adams and Bijan? CMC to Bijan downgrade, Smith to Adams massive upgrade. I'm going to keep the best player in fantasy though. I'm going to keep CMC. Lewis says, hey man, thanks for all your hard work. No, thank you. Worried about Watson out. Should we start either Rice, Amari, or Jeff Wilson Jr.? Most people, I don't care. A lot of people said Rice in the live chat when asked this. I'm going to go Amari over Rice, even if it's a gross spot. You will have PJ Walker at least in that quarterback. It's a horrible matchup though. Now, Sun Triple A says, what's up, bro? Rate it. Traded Brown for Barkley, Scary Terry Osborne. Happy BR starting the flock. Scary Terry Osborne. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you, my friend. Probably will end up going Scary Terry. And I think, honestly, you probably lost out in the deal unless this is like a team where depth matters a ton and where we simply had no depth, right? Because if you're immediately having to start someone like Scary Terry or Osborne, then maybe we needed the depth. Yazan says Nico and Javonte for James Cook. Really just comes down to, do you need a running back? Do you need a receiver? I'd probably go Nico Collins, but it is going to be up to you. But let me go ahead, refresh this so we can keep pulling up these questions. And as I do this, we just hit 900 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like about 9% of y'all have gone down there and hit that like button. Please go down there, hit the like button, subscribe. We have live stream for every day, 167 days in a row. Not going to miss a single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat. You can find it in the description. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em for tonight, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, because it was our birthday this week, Underdog's hooking everybody up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard on Monday night. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. And Joe, my man, I did not skip your question for the millionth time. We do not skip questions. We just go in order. I see it in 3. Just be a little bit patient with me, my man. Be a little bit patient. Now, Cogent coming out, always happy to see you, my man, saying 10-team PPR 4-1, Stroud, Bijan, Pollard, Allen, Adams, Andrews, Ridley. And then on the bench, we have Ayuk, Smith, Watson, Spears, Pitts. Traded Mahomes, Ferguson, Flowers for Adams, Smith, Pitts. Looking to trade Stroud with the wide receiver. Perfect. Mahomes, Adams, easily Adams. Flowers, Smith, easily Smith. Ferguson, Pitts, up to you. I prefer Pitts. I think you upgraded every step of the way. I think you have the exact thought process here. And now let's send Brandon Ayuk and CJ Stroud and let's go get Justin Herbert, you know. Love to see it. Great move. And yeah, I think that's exactly what we're going to look to do right after this. Okay. Anthony says traded Kittle and HN for Hawkinson and Swift. Great trade. I'd way rather have Hawkinson over Kittle. Way rather have Swift over HN with the injury. The team is Hurts, Walker, Swift. I mean, we have, yeah, you definitely won. Great team too. Now, Joe coming out saying 10-team, 1 flex. We have Fields, Kyron, Walker, Kupp, AJ Waller, and then the flex Waddle. On the bench, we have Jones, Pittman, Flowers, Quentin Johnson, Jameson, and Goff. Should we trade Kyron, Pittman, Fields for Allen and Eckler? I actually love this idea, my man. 10-team single flex format. We're going out there. We're getting the best players we can. I think it makes a lot of sense to take in a 10-team single flex league one of those depth wide receivers in Justin Fields to go get like a Josh Allen level player. I mean, at the same time, getting the upgrade from like Kyron Williams to Austin Eckler is just a massive added on bonus. I think the construction of the deal makes a lot of sense. And I think the actual value of the players that you are getting is just absurd. Great trade. Okay. Great team. Now, Danny says 4-1 trade Gabe Warren for Higgins and Waller Addison for Andrews. Rest of the team is Burrow, Hill, Kupp, Saquon Montgomery, Hunt, Jeff Wilson Jr., DeMarcado, Palmer, and Tank. I think we can do both deals if we want. I want to focus a little bit more on the first one because I think that's the one that people are going to have a pushback on. But if you look at Jaylen Warren, well, I mean, Jaylen Warren is someone that we have ranked over Najee Harris. This is a running back that still kind of is in the same situation as he was. It doesn't matter if he is seeing 35% or 55% of this backfield. He's not startable in this situation. And the only way he would be startable is if we had an injury to Najee Harris. So I think we are getting upgrades there. I like selling the wide receiver. I think that does make a lot of sense. Now, Trek says, Ahmed or Jerome Ford in non-PBR format. We're going to go Ford, my friend. And, you know, we were saying to sell Ford a few weeks back, but it's way higher price tag than this. Now, Madness says, hey, Mason just traded Swift, Connor, Tutu, Godwin for Jefferson, Sanders, Kirk. I'm 4-1. Full BBR with Herbert, Mixon, Montgomery, Adams, Diggs, the flex, Zach Moss. Good trade. Should we sit on Jefferson or loss? And do you think Jaleel? I honestly don't think Jaleel will make a difference. If you are looking at Jaleel, I think he's going to be in a 3-man running back by committee in a very bad offense. Doesn't matter if he's the running back 1 in that scenario. He's probably not startable in that situation. Swift to Jefferson, 4-1. You can go either way. Connor to Sanders, probably want Sanders. Godwin to Kirk, fair deal either way. I think it's a fair trade specifically because you are 4-1. I do think that it makes sense and you can go ahead and pull the trigger here. because you're 4-1 with a strong roster like this, I think it does make sense to potentially go out there and get Justin Jefferson. If you're 1-4, I'd say no, you need points now. But Devin coming out saying 12 team, 4-1, full BBR in first. We have Lamar, Bijan, Mostert, Puka, Garrett Wilson, Andrews, Montgomery, and then on the bench we have James Cook, Musgrave, Stroud, Watson, Jeff Wilson Jr. How should I upgrade at wide receiver 2? Thinking St. Brown, Ridley, Devonta. What should we offer for Tyreek? Thank you as always, man. No, thank you so much. Phenomenal team, my man. You'll love to see it. I mean, here, if you are looking at what we have down on the bench, we have a few assets that someone would trade for. I mean, James Cook would be that number one player that I think someone would be interested in. And I'd be fine selling James Cook off this team, especially as we have Mostert getting that step up. Between Puka, Garrett Wilson, I'd be fine selling either. I would rather have Puka, but at the same time, you're going to get more value for Puka, so it really just depends. Right? So if you could trade like Puka and Garrett Wilson, I'm sorry, not Puka and Garrett Wilson, like James Cook and Garrett Wilson, or James Cook and Puka, and get to Amon-Ra St. Brown, get to Devontae Adams, get to CeeDee Lamb, I think that'd make a lot of sense. The CeeDee Lamb trade, I think most people would probably rather have Puka at this point, and instead you'd probably be looking at selling Garrett Wilson. Now, Jack says, can't find rest of season rankings signed up with Underdog. So if you sign up with Underdog and use promo code FLOCK, they're going to send you a link to flockfantasy.com with a special keyword that's going to get you free access to flockfantasy.com. And you can find my rankings on the rankings page there. So yeah, just look out in your email. It may go to the spam, but it will be that link to flockfantasy.com with that special access, my friend. And of course, if y'all want to get those rest of season rankings, like I said, check your email. You can sign up for Underdog, promo code FLOCK. You do have to make a $10 deposit with promo code FLOCK though. But with that $10 deposit, be able to check out all these pick'ems over there on Underdog, plus get our rest of season rankings, plus a 100% deposit match, plus a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em for tonight, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, a Justin Herbert special pick'em for Monday night, more than less than half a total yard. So please, make sure you take advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. And the only reason you're going to get all that is because it was our birthday this week. Like Underdog hooked you all up, so please take advantage. Now, JDH coming out saying, we have Lamar, Pollard, Jacobs, Kyron, Roshan, Demir, Jeb Wilson, JT, Allen, DK Flowers, Gabe Henry, 12-team app BBR, 2-2-1. Max for Laporta you would give. Owner needs a running back. I talked about this in the video today. I don't think Sam Laporta is someone to be trading for right now. Sam Laporta is someone with an insane amount of value. Everybody wants Sam Laporta. I have Sam Laporta ranked at tight end 4. I have him behind Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson, but almost I find it for people in these live streams easier to trade for those other tight ends. So I'd offer these deals for those tight ends first, but if we don't get those, you want to go to Laporta instead. I don't want to sell Kyron. I don't want to sell Jacobs. I don't want to sell Pollard. I don't want to sell JT. I'd rather sell like Pollard for Kelsey, you know? Like I think these running backs are better. And then you're not going to be able to sell one of the other guys. You're not going to be able to sell Roshan for him. So I feel like you're in a little bit of a unique spot. If you go through and sell one of those running backs, I think you need another piece in return. Now our next switch coming out from Embry says, do I trade Amon-Ra and Pierce for JT Wilson and Nico Collins? It's a double flex format. We had HN go down, so the team is Allen, Pollard, Pierce, Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hawkinson, Puka, Pittman. After that, we only have backup running backs. So Pierce to get to Nico Collins, up to you. Amon-Ra for Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson. Very fair deal. If this was like a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, I would say we probably want to go ahead. We probably want to hold on to the best player in Amon-Ra St. Brown, but 12-team double flex league. Let's do it. Crystal, always happy to see you, says, need 2 receivers in a flex. Puka, Debo, Hopkins, Hollywood, Godwin, Roshan, if you play. Thanks, Mason. Appreciate you as always. I think we were going to go Puka, Debo at wide receiver, and then probably Godwin, especially if we have Evans banked up. If Evans is 100% good to go and instead you want to pivot over to like Hollywood Brown, you could do that if you wanted. Now, Baby Genius says, Dynasty start 11, super flex, 4-1. Own our own 2024 first. Goddard, Deontay Ridley, Dell for Puka, Laporta. Okay. So the future first versus Laporta, it's a late first. If it's a tight end premium format, you can make an argument that that's a wash. Ridley and Tank Dell for Puka, you'd probably rather have Puka. So if you are confident that you are going to be a strong contender rest of the way and that will be a late first, I think you are fine making the move. Now, Samuel says, Mahomes, Bijan, Achane, Ramondre, Devonta Smith, Olave, Ridley, Laporta, 10-team keeper. I'm 2-3. Do we shake things up dramatically and try to squeeze out value for Achane? What's very interesting, right, is Achane is that running back that you probably either got off the waiver wire at the very end of your draft. So I don't know if we would want to go ahead, if we would want to try to make a swing. And sell Achane for production right now. Instead, you'd possibly be better off just going through, holding on to Achane, seeing if he comes back, seeing if we can survive as is. And then if not, we're still going to get to keep him at the end of the day. So I think we keep Achane, assuming that we can keep him next year at a very low cost. In Brown says, happy BR, 10-team 3-2. We need running back help. Allen, Aaron Jones, Madison, Algier, Tyreek, Adams, Kittle, Flowers, Godwin, Osborne. Do we trade Adams, and what do we target? No, do not trade Adams. I know Adams last week wasn't his usual self. I know that, yes, you had Jacoby Myers crushing, but Adams wasn't fully healthy. I think it's a very well-balanced team. I think we can sit on our hands and then just churn the waiver wire and continuously try to pick up more running backs. Now, Space Broad says, quarterback, we have Mahomes, Baker, Taylor, White, Pollard, Adams, Olave, Dell, Romeo Dobbs, DeAndre Hopkins, Jonnu, Komet. Any recommendations? We are just not rostering nearly enough running backs, my man. I mean, running back's the position where you can have someone step in due to an injury and turn into an every week starter immediately. So I think that we would go ahead. I think that we would probably look to like drop Baker if you have Mahomes. Maybe even roster one fewer wide receiver and get one more running back in here. In terms of trades, I don't see much, but at the minimum, let's drop the backup quarterback and let's go out there and let's see if we can pick up another running back off waivers. Now, Anthony says, 2-2-1, pick your starters. Amari, Downs, Osborne, Reynolds, Kyron, Roshan, Moss, Gainwell, Najee, and Ramondre. We're going to be going with Kyron easily. Ramondre at running back. Well, no, we're going to go Kyron, Zach Moss, Roshan if Roshan's good to go. If Roshan's not, we're going to go Kyron, Zach Moss, Ramondre. And then for our 2 wide receivers, we're going to be playing Amari in a gross spot with KJ Osborne. But obviously not excited about Amari's situation. Okay. Now, J. Fred says, should I wait until after this weekend before trying to trade Mostert for Brees? We have Wilson on my IR as well. I wouldn't mind if you wanted to wait to see if Brees was legit going up against Philadelphia, because ultimately you're not going to have Raheem Mostert ever losing value against the Panthers, right? It's pretty much impossible for Mostert to lose value against the Panthers at this point. Now, David says, full BBR start Rashee Rice or KJ Osborne. We will go Osborne over Rice. Also, with Watson out, do we take Amari out and start both Rashid now? I'm going to go. A lot of people were asking this same question of like Rice or Amari with no Deshaun Watson. And obviously Amari has a horrendous matchup as well. I'm still going to go Amari over Rice though. Now, Adam says, Dynasty PPR. We have Smith, Geno, a second round pick. For DK Judy, Smith to DK, give me Smith. Geno in the second versus Judy. If it is a super flex format, it's Geno easily. I think we go Smith. I would rather have Smith over DK rest of season. Or they're right there. And then obviously Smith is much younger than DK. Adam says Rusty says 12-team Happy BR, single flex 2 and 3. We have Allen, Kyler, Pittman, Wilson, Watson, Dell, Deontay Bijan, Eckler, Ford, Gibbs, Pierce, Jeff Wilson Jr. Should we trade Bijan, Garrett Wilson for Etienne and Waddle? I like the idea of buying low on Waddle. You know, we've been saying to target Travis Etienne in trades all season now, but no, I mean, Bijan Robinson's still by far and away the best player, especially in a single flex format. Keep Bijan. But peanut butter going to be our next question. We do have to refresh this so we can keep bringing them up though. So as I do this, please, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We are 1 like away from hitting 1,000 likes on this stream. You could be that 1,000. And also, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you get a 100% deposit match. Our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. A Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for tonight. And since it's our birthday, Underdog's also hooking you up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard tonight as well. Never have these kind of offers, but it's our birthday. So Underdog, let us hook y'all up. So please take advantage. Now, I believe we said peanut butter or peanut something was our next question, right? And Peanut Butter Plays says, have BBR 12-team league. Should I trade Waddle for Olave? Honestly, they're neck and neck in my rankings. I'd probably rather have Olave. Garrett says, why do you not like Hollywood? Lock for 14 points per game and a half PPR. Because I'm not looking for, a lock for 14 points per game. I'm looking for someone that has a considerable amount of upside, my friend. Kyle says, who to flex PPR? We have Olave, Saquon, Stevenson, Rice, Reynolds. Receivers are DJ Moore, Pittman, Puka. Running backs are Bijan and Pollard. Oh my gosh. Olave, Saquon are definitely the play here. You're going to go one of those guys. If you look at our flex rankings, they're relatively close. I have Saquon at 28. I have Olave at 32. So only 4 spots removed from each other. We probably go Saquon. It's just such a tough matchup against Buffalo as a 14-point dog. Paul says, start one, Gibbs, Thomas, Pierce, Palmer. Gibbs is selling me. Yeah, it's brutal. I think we probably have to go Pierce at this point. Now, Real One says, have BBR 14-team league. Pick one for the flex. 2-2, Michael Wilson, Jaleel, Jeff Wilson Jr. Probably Jaleel, as gross as it sounds. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. has a more long-term upside, but I don't think we can play him until we see him. Also, should we drop McKinnon? To pick up... Oh, no, hell no, do not. You would rather have McKinnon over Zach Evans, my man. Zach Evans is nobody. Now, Niner coming out saying, start Jaleel or risk Gibbs, Roshan playing. I would definitely rather have Roshan or Gibbs over Jaleel, but we don't know if they play, so it kind of depends on your backup option. I'll say if they were to play, we would definitely prefer one of the exciting rookies. Adam says, love the content, 4-1 in a 12-team BBR league. Happy BBR format. Any moves? We have Tua, Eckler, Kyron, Lamb, Puka, DJ Moore, Andrews. And then on the bench, we have Godwin, Pierce, Charbonnet, and Osborne. 4-1, you're in a very comfortable position, especially if we have this depth down there in the bottom end. I would say maybe this is a team where if you really wanted to, you could go out there and you could play DJ Moore over. I'm sorry, you could trade DJ Moore for Justin Jefferson and then play Chris Godwin for the time being. And then obviously have the long-term upside on 4-1 roster for Jefferson. David says 12-team full BBR format. Tua, Tyreek, Adams, Wilson, Pollard, Kyron, Hawkinson, DK. On the bench, we have Dobbs, Sanders, Judy, Tutu, Jalen, 3-2. Get depth or rock out with this. I think we're probably going to be sitting still. I mean, you have Warren, you have Judy, you have guys that you can play if we really need to. We have a great starting lineup. So I think we're chilling, especially with that Tua Tyreek stack. Now, Junior coming out says, any advice? 0-4. We have Watson, Etienne, Kyron, Lamb, Puka, Goddard, Barkley, Thielen. And then on the bench, Olave, Ford, Jonathan Taylor, Pierce, Scary Terry, and a double flex league. I mean, any long-term upside that's not giving us points right now, we need to go through and sell. I would just say if you wanted to, you could potentially see what we could get for like Jonathan Taylor. If you think Jonathan Taylor is a little more long-term than short-term, like even sell JT for ETN. Someone that's producing right now. That's not someone that we have to do. I think that he's going to be good going forward, but we just need points right now. Derek says, happy BR single flex. I have Flowers, Addison, Bijan, Pacheco, Walker starting this week. With St. Brown healthy, who should we bench? We're going to be benching Zay Flowers. Please play Addison over Flowers now. Liam says, hey Mason, 12-team full BBR. We have Lamar, Montgomery, Ford, AJ Brown, Puka, Kelsey, Metcalf, Algier, Javante, Hopkins, Judy, H.N. Sutton. Trade Puka for Garrett Wilson and Damian Pierce, 2 and 3 right now. Double flex format. You can do this if you want. I understand that we're struggling at running back. If it's a single flex league, I think Puka is probably too good to be selling at that price. Okay. Jesse says Chase and Moss for Bijan and Puka. I think we would go ahead and do this. I mean, I would rather have Chase over Bijan, but still. Happy BR double flex. We have Montgomery, Moss, HN, Jeff Wilson Jr. Yeah, so especially at running back, if we lose HN and we need some running back production, let's go get Bijan. Turbid Player says we have to sit one between Addison, Puka, Moss. I saw Moss last week. I regret it. 100% understand. I still probably bench Moss this week. I think Jonathan Taylor expands his role. Now, Jordan says 4-1, 10-team full BBR, double flex. Stroud or Purdy? We'll go Stroud if Watson's not playing just because they don't have to, 49ers won't have to throw it. Eckler, Chase, Lamb, Kittle. 1 flex, Addison or Thielen. We're going to go Addison. Actually, no, we're going to go Thielen this week, Addison long-term. And then 2, Pacheco or Thielen. We're definitely going to go Pacheco, but keep in mind, since Pacheco plays tonight, put Pacheco in at RB1 and then move Austin Eckler down to the flex just in case anybody changes. Now, Jacob says, just got offered Kelsey, James Cook, for Brees. Oh, yeah, definitely go get Travis Kelsey there, my man. Yeah, took the deal and ran. You definitely should have, especially right before this game. Love it. Evan says 1-4 in a 12-team, 3 wide receiver league. We need some help. We have Tua, Chase, Waddle, Samuel, Pollard, Pierce, Down, Sutton, Spears, Khalil, Goddard, Roshan Richardson on the IR. Who should we be looking to move? 1-4. I know we're not going to get a lot of value for him. I understand we're going to be selling him way too low. We're still going to see if we can go out there and sell Anthony Richardson with anybody here. Sell Anthony Richardson and Joshua Palmer just to go get an upgrade, you know. Just to go get any potential upgrade you can for the short term. Even if we are selling the long-term value at a significant discount, kind of forced to. Now, Jason coming out saying 1-4, 12-team, 3/4 point PPR. You have Stafford, Bijan, Jacobs, Amari, Myers, Watson, Andrews, Ford. And then on the bench, we have Zay, Zeke, Ronnie Rivers, Algier. I'm a disgrace. Help, please. Stafford's going to be much better going forward. I think he should be a fine quarterback to start. I mean, just like, what can we do? Ford was a sell-high guy for us previously, but we're not going to get anything for him now. And the thing is, if you're 1-4, fundamentally, we just need to be making sure that we have the best short-term starting lineup possible, in which we're going to go through and we are going to be selling guys down there on the bench to get production in right now. But we don't have anybody on the bench that anybody would trade for, right? So I'm kind of stuck as is. Tobin says, I have a favorite prop for tonight and Sunday on me. Okay, so I know I really like an underdog pick'em for DJ Moore this week. Even if DJ Moore is a sell, even if I said you should go through and sell him for a CD Lamb, I mean, he's 55 receiving yards on Underdog Fantasy. I would definitely go through and take DJ Moore for more than 55 receiving yards. We can look at the pick'ems tonight. I don't remember anything standing out to us initially. You have Javonte at 51.5 total yards. I wouldn't mind to go Russ to have an interception, just given the fact that they're going to be trailing this entire game. So you should have a ton of overall pass attempts. I mean, maybe you could go with the Russ more than 32.5 pass attempts as well. And they will have to try to aggressively push the ball down the field in the second half. So if you wanted one for tonight, I would say Russ to have an interception. And definitely I feel more comfortable about the Sunday one of DJ Moore more than 55.5 receiving yards, my friend. Okay. Now, Max says, is it worth it to trade for Jefferson? I'm 3-2, but feel good about the team. Really depends on the price tag, right? Obviously, you just have to understand you're going through and you are taking on a player with a lot of upside, but also a ton of risk. GoPro Dude says 10-team single flex PPR. We have Hurts, Mixon, Hall, Charbonnet, Cup, Lamb, Addison, Waller, Judy, Kirk, Watson, Thielen. Just traded Judy, Kirk, Mixon for Amari and T. Then traded Cup, Hall for Eckler, Smith. Like the Eckler deal a lot in a single flex league. Don't know if I love the Amari and T deal. I think long-term it may be fine. You probably should have just waited a week, knowing that T. Higgins probably is going to be the ultimate buy low candidate in like 2 weeks, which is what I tried to what I tried to explain in the video yesterday. Lions Beast says, bad spot start Jaleel, Edwards, or Keontae. Ugh. Justice Hill maybe actually has a larger role than Edwards now. I think Keontae Ingram has the highest ceiling. Jaleel maybe has the highest floor. Judas says 10-team BBR 2 and 3. We have Burrow, CMC, Eckler, Cup, Olave, Andrews. For the flex, Waddle. And then on the bench, we have Stroud, Hall, Devonta Smith, Brian Robinson. Phenomenal team. We do have a lot of value down there on the bench that someone would trade for. I have no idea how the hell we have CMC and Austin Eckler together, but I think this is a team that can afford to go out there and send, like, say, Breece Hall and Joe Burrow and go get Josh Allen, go get Patrick Mahomes, go get Jalen Hurts. I think you can actually afford it with this team. Now, Robo says full BBR for the flex, Pacheco, Thielen, Pittman, flock on. Appreciate you, my friend. We are going to go Pacheco in the great matchup tonight. Braden says, do I trade CeeDee Lamb or Devonta Smith for Jonathan Taylor? I would trade Smith for JT relatively easily. Jonathan says Sutton or Gallup this week. I will go Sutton over Gallup. King Wrecker says Allen, Hall, Swift, Chase, Kirk, Laporta, Taylor, White, London, Algier, Ford, Williams, Wilson, Mayfield, White, Taylor, 1 and 4. What are we doing? Cut Baker. When you have Josh Allen, you're starting him every single week regardless. We just need to focus in on trying to pick up a running back wide receiver that we can start right now. Like if something changes. I think we have a fine starting lineup now that we're getting Jonathan Taylor back in. I mean, I think you're just unlucky with injuries for the time being. I would also look to see if we could take like a depth piece here. Maybe like Jerome Ford and Sam Laporta and see if we can pivot over to TJ Hawkinson, especially if you may have Laporta missing this week. And this team's 1 and 4. We need a point. We need points today, or this week. Lewis says 5-0, 12-team at BBR. We have Hurts, CMC, ETN, Godwin, Addison, McLaurin, Piggins, Hawkinson. Want to trade for stronger receivers? Any targets? Okay. Trying to think, my man. A great team. We have so much depth at the wide receiver position that obviously what we'd be looking to do is like, if we could take Pickens and send him together with a package like McLaurin and go just get an upgrade at wide receiver, let's do it. Like we can go Pickens and McLaurin and go get Smith, Olave. Let's do it. Or just one of those guys, of course. Take Kim, always happy to see you, my guy. Says trade thoughts: Jefferson, Brian Robinson, Waddle, or Ayuk. So let's just say Ayuk. So Jefferson, Brian Robinson, Ayuk for Tyreek, Laporta, Tajee. We're 4-1. Oh, it's going to be easily Tyreek Hill. I understand we're 4-1. Maybe we can afford the long-term upside wait out of Justin Jefferson. But you also have Devon Achane injured. I mean, Jefferson, is not close to Tyreek at this point. A lot of people would tell you they'd rather have Laporta over Ayuk than Tajee, Brian Robinson. Who cares? You got to go Tyreek Hill here, my friend. Caleb says, should we pick up Keontae over Roschon? The issue with Keontae is, one, I don't think he's a good running back. Two, he's in a very bad offense. I think Roschon's a more talented player. I think he has a clearer path to being the guy as well, where it could be DeMarcado. We don't know who the guy is in Arizona. But real quick, let me refresh this so we can keep bringing these up. And as I do, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, you'll be getting a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard. Make sure you take advantage. And since it was our birthday, Underdog's going to hook you up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard on Monday night as well. So please take advantage if you have not done so already. But Vincent, always happy to see you, my man, says Kyler London and 2 firsts for Jalen Hurts. Trying to compete this year. I know it's a little heavy. If those look like late first round picks, I'm completely fine with you going out there and making that, my man. Completely fine with it. Colin says 4-1, 12-team PBR, single flex. We have Herbert, Jacobs, Swift, Montgomery, Khalil, Keenan, Moore, Ayuk, Kirk, Kelsey, Laporta. Any trades? If we have Kelsey and Laporta, my friend, let's go through and let's see if we can package together like DJ Moore and Laporta. And let's see if we can go get Stephon Diggs. Let's see if we can go get Devontae Adams. Let's see if we can go get that true elite alpha receiver. Freddie, always out here, says, let's go smash them like boys. Mason, start 2, London, Palmer, Johnson, Rice, Roschon. Thanks for everything you do, bro. Appreciate you, my man. Plan A will be Palmer and Roschon. If Roschon does not play, we will be switching over and we'll be going with Palmer and London. Obviously, it's a scary spot having to rely on London, though, and this team just does not want to throw the ball. Now, AJ says, pick 2 to start out of Rice, Michael Thomas, and Sutton. We're going to go with Michael Thomas and Sutton. Rice is an intriguing pickup, and I'm rooting for Rice to do well this week. But in reality, he just doesn't run nearly enough routes for you to comfortably rely upon him. Now, Chris says, Stroud, Kyron, Swift, Mostert, Javonte, Puka, Ridley, Kupp, Olave, Addison, Kelsey. Who are you trying to trade and what are some targets? I think this is a very well-balanced team. If you could send maybe like Jordan Addison and Raheem Mostert and go get a long-term stud running back, like go get someone in the Bijan Robinson range. If you want to send Olave and Mostert, go get someone in the Bijan Robinson range, Austin Eckler, then we do it. But honestly, it's probably going to be hard to do that. And instead, you may end up having to go ahead and see if we could send say Chris Olave and CJ Stroud and go get a top 3 to 4 quarterback. Now, Mitch coming out says 10-team PBR single flex. We have Hurts, Richardson, Bijan, Achane, Pacheco, White, Ford, Smith, Ridley, Nico, Addison, Laporta. 2 and 3. Who am I selling? Side note, happy birthday, big dog. You're the man. Appreciate you, my man. We are going to go ahead. I think that we are going to be taking some of this long-term value on a 2 and 3 roster, trying to go to the 5-0 team, trying to go to the 4-1 team, gas them up. Go, hey man, I know you are a lock for the fantasy football playoffs right now. I know you probably want to look for some of that long-term upside. Here's Anthony Richardson and Devon Achane. We know these guys are going to crush it for you when you're in the fantasy football playoffs. Gas them up a little bit. Be like, give me back Travis Etienne. Give me back a running back that, maybe is actually worse than Achane rest of season. You gotta turn on your salesman ability here. And then see if we can get some production in the starting lineup right now. But ultimately, you're still in a very, very good spot. We were able to start Bijan, Pacheco this week. We still have White for the depth. So honestly, I think you're just fine. Now, Cam Dino says, full BBR Montgomery for Olave. Montgomery. We have Collins and Evans at wide receiver. Yeah, you want Montgomery. Dable in a Dream says, trade away DK for Olave. I would rather have Olave over DK. Then Bingwin says 10-team, pick 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Jacobs, JT, White, Hull, Ford, Chase, Jason Olave, T, Godwin, Wilson. Running backs, we're going to be going with Jacobs, Breece Hall. Wide receiver, we're going to be going with Chase, Chris Olave. And then for the flex spot, we're going to go with your call between Jonathan Taylor and Garrett Wilson. Now, John says, 12-team PPR 1 and 4. We have Mahomes, Kyron, Mixon, Javonte Warren, Devonta Smith, Amari, Higgins, Addison, Dell. Should we trade Amari and Higgins for Calvin Ridley? Single flex format where you're 1 and 4 and we need points in right now, I'm fine doing it. I think you could end up losing this trade in the long term, but if you're 1 and 4, you need points right now, not long term. Now, Robles says, Kyron for Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have some great running backs already. Yes, I think we would take St. Brown there. AJ says, Mason, the vlog has helped me so much. Hell yes, my man. How can we improve the squad? Herbert, Madison, Mostert, AJ Brown, Puka, Laporta, Godwin, Pittman, and 2 flex spots. We have Watson, Judy, Rice, Khalil Herbert, Justice Hill, and P. Ryan. Okay. So really fortunate that Mostert looks like he is someone that's going to crush going forward. We have the wide receiver depth for those 2 flexes. I think in terms of making any trades right now, I don't necessarily see anything that makes sense. I think you're in a very comfortable spot as we stand. Long term, I think that we could possibly look to do something long term. Once we get, say, Christian Watson back from the bye, and then at that point, if you wanted to see if we could sell, like, say, Jerry Jeudy and Puka and go get up to TJ Hawkins, or honestly, I'm not, sorry, not Puka, I apologize. I meant Laporta. The only thing is, I would send out, see if we can get either Hawkinson or Mark Andrews for Laporta right now. In long term, if we could sell Judy and Madison for a running back upgrade or Watson and Madison for a running back upgrade, I think that would make sense, but we probably want to wait a week until we get some of these guys like Watson back from the bye. Caesar says, just traded Ford and Garrett for Lamb and Connor. Garrett for Lamb, give me Lamb. Ford versus Connor, who cares? I think it's a good deal. AJ says, is Jefferson a safe start tonight with the trade rumors? Jerry Jeudy, you mean? So I was talking about this earlier in the live stream. Like, you can make an argument of 1 of 2 ways, going, oh yeah, they're maybe going to trade him. Maybe they don't want to use him so he doesn't get hurt. Or you could say, oh, maybe they're going to go through and try to highlight him and increase his trade value. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how you take it. I'm probably not going to move in my rankings because I don't know really how it impacts it. Derek says, full PPR, should we flex Thielen or Hawkinson? Never want to flex a tight end. I'd probably go Hawkinson, though, with no Jefferson. Kojin says your top 7 quarterbacks rest of season. Let me go ahead and pull up flockfantasy.com for you, my man, so I can give you not only the order, but I can give you where we have them in our overall rankings as well. This will take me just 1 second. And as I do this, let me remind you, go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be getting a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, you'll be getting a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. Underdog's hooking y'all up because it was my birthday this week. Super happy that we were able to give y'all all that. So please make sure you are taking advantage. But let's go ahead and let's pull this up. We're going to be looking at quarterbacks. I have Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Tua, Herbert, Fields, and then Burrow right there at 8. But how we break it down in tiers, I have Hurts, Mahomes, Allen in their own tier. And then we have Lamar, Tua, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields in the tier beyond. Okay. But we're actually going to have to refresh this so we can keep bringing them up. Trone Force going to be coming out with our next question here. Who says, trade away James Cook, Keontae for Debo. We have Mahomes, Chase, Adams, Swift, Montgomery, Andrews. Yeah, if you feel like you have enough running back value, I think you can go ahead and do it if you're concerned about the James Cook usage. Jared says, just gave away Waddle and Gabe Davis for Amon-Ra, Christian Watson. Great deal. I love Jalen Waddle, but I think you'd clearly rather have St. Brown there. Loop Jam says, I'm behind on the stream trying to figure out what to do about Judy. Make sure you look at the clip of Steve Smith running Judy's trade value 30 minutes ago. I don't think we need to do that, to be honest with you. But yeah, we don't need to do that, and I don't think you need to worry. Okay, now David says, KJ Osborne or Judy this week? I'll go Judy over Osborne. Michael says, happy birthday week, goat. Appreciate you, my man. Pick 2, Gabe Davis, Pittman, Judy, Roshan, and KJ Osborne. I think we're going to be going with Michael Pittman and Gabe Davis. Pittman and Gabe Davis. Now, Young Guy says, happy birthday, my friend. 10 TBBR, Ramadre Sutton for Jordan Addison. I don't know. Really up to your team. Tough call. Tough call. Damian says, Allen, James Cook, Etienne Cup, Chase, Ingram, Amari, Hopkins, Wilson. Just traded Christian Kirk for Olave. Oh, great deal. 14-team league. Depth's going to matter a little bit more. So I'm actually fine holding on to these depth wide receivers like Amari and Hopkins. I mean, these guys have a value for the long term. We have the elite quarterback. We have a strong tight end as well. Great trade and love the team. Gary says, my man Flock up 10 TBBR single flex. We have Fields, Kyron, James Cook, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Pittman, Kelsey. On the bench, we have Kirk, Michael Thomas, Gibbs, Ford. Would you trade Kirk for Judy? Kirk and Judy are going to be in a similar tier. Can everybody please spam the chat? With this team, who would you rather have rest of season? Are you going to be going Christian Kirk or Jerry Judy? Christian Kirk or Jerry Judy, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Judy is currently being rumored to get traded out of Denver. Judy, Kirk. Looks like everybody would rather have Christian Kirk over Jerry Judy here, my man. Kirk, Judy. Judy is not worth close to a first and second round pick. That's not how the NFL treats these players. I promise you. Promise you that's not how the NFL treats these players. He's not a starting quarterback. Kirk, Judy, Kirk. It looks like most people are taking Kirk. Like, for the love of God, if you are a Broncos fan and you think that the Denver Broncos would get a first, you're living in your Madden world. You're living in your fantasy football world. I promise you the Broncos would not get a first round pick if they decided to trade Jerry Judy. It's not happening. I'm not even saying Judy's bad by any means. It's just not how the NFL works. Tyler says 12-team PPR receivers are Higgins, Lockett, Cup, Rasheed, Dell, Boyd. With Higgins, Dell, Quentin, who do we look to replace tonight? Or do we look to play Rice today? Yeah, honestly, I think here we're going to be going with Lockett, Cup, wide receiver. Yeah, play Lockett and Cup. Then I honestly want to play Rice. Rice just doesn't run enough routes. Like, once Rice becomes an every down player, then sure we can, but I don't know. Now, Greg says trade Keenan and Mixon for CMC. Oh, this is a no-brainer. A great team as well. This just makes a strong team even stronger. Now, Jigsaw says 4-1 full BBR format. We have Stafford, Barkley, Montgomery, Tyreek, Olave, Kittle, Pollard, and then on the bench, Amari, Watson, Godwin, Hollywood, Addison, Michael Thomas, Zach Moss, starting lineup, and traits. So if we were really going to get someone from the bench into the starting lineup, it would be Jordan Addison. I'm not going to start him over Tyreek, Olave, or Pollard, so we keep it as is. Phenomenal team. I think really when you have this kind of depth as well, if you wanted to see if we could sell like Jordan Addison and Stafford to get to like a Lamar level quarterback, that would be great, but you don't have to. You don't have to. Great team. Harsh Patel coming out saying, what should we do with Thielen? Can he actually sustain this? Or do we try to flip him for Devonta Smith or Waddle or just ride him all the way? I would love to sell him if we could get to Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. Adam Thielen's been the wide receiver 10 from a points per game perspective, but I do think that he falls down to being a low-end wide receiver 2 rest of season. Okay. Now, Doa coming out says, a full BBR double flex 4-1. We have Lamar, Fields, Etienne, Montgomery, Jacobs, Sanders, Algier, Roshan, Chase, Godwin, Dell, JSN, Quentin Johnston, Jefferson, Spears, Gibson, Laporta. Any trades / suggestions to win a championship? If it's going to be a single QB league, my friend, I think you have to take this Justin Fields value whenever we have Lamar Jackson and send like Justin Fields and Chris Godwin, send Justin Fields and Tank Dell, send Justin Fields and Quentin Johnson once we have the Jefferson injury, and go out there and try to get an elite level wide receiver for, especially from like a team that possibly loses out on Anthony Richardson, right? I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, Starry coming out says, just traded Holly. Actually, we're going to have to refresh this. I apologize. Give me a second. So this next question going to come out from Starry. And as we pull this up, actually, maybe we can do this on the other screen. Go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat in the description or in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500 plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And for tonight's game, a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, since it's our birthday week, Underdog's also hooking y'all up. Only if you use promo code FLOCK with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Monday. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. Super happy we were able to get that for y'all. But Starry says just traded Hollywood and Laporta for DeAndre Swift. We had Kelsey. Good move. We have Saquon. Oh, yeah, great team. I mean, if you wanted to send out one of these running backs like, say, Swift with Garrett Wilson or Hopkins, get an elite level receiver, then we go ahead and do that. But, yeah, a way to maximize value for Laporta on a Kelsey team. Justin says 18 PBR where we have Mahomes, Lamb, Smith, Mixon, Etienne, Kelsey, Pittman, Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Watson, Addison, Pacheco, Nico, Taylor. Am I crazy to thinking to go get Jefferson? You're not crazy in thinking so. I think this is the perfect example, my friend, of a team where you want to go out there and where we can say we can afford Justin Jefferson. It's not really going to negatively impact us too much. It's an 8-team format where depth's not going to be as important and replacement level players will be easy for us to go out there and it will be easy for us to find. So, yeah, I think we go ahead. I think we look to make that move, my friend. Now, K-Sun says 2-3, 10-team league. We have Lamar, Hall, Moss, Waddle, Wilson, Smith, Gibbs, Lockett, Osborne, Roshan, Immericado, Cousins, Ravens. Feeling stuck. Any advice? I mean, if we have Lamar, let's go through and let's see if we can take Cousins and go to the Anthony Richardson team and go, hey, man, I'll give you Kirk Cousins and Zach Moss. Give me the best running back you can get. I mean, ultimately, this is a team that going forward, you have no idea if you have a viable running back too with Taylor expanding his role. So I think that's the move to take Cousins and the RB2, see if we can get an upgrade there. Now, Kevin says, happy birthday. Recommend any moves. 1 quarterback, 1 flex, 14-team league. We have Goff, Chase, Smith, Debo, Cook, Goddard. And then on the bench, we have Love, Pierce, Myers, Foreman, sitting at 4-1. A great spot, my friend. I mean, 4-1, obviously we like the team as is. If we could go ahead and do anything, honestly, 14-team league, no, I don't. I think that you're actually just kind of chilling as is here. This 14-team format, we kind of want to be holding on to that depth. Henry says, Mixon, KJ Osborne for Brian Robinson, Zay Flowers. We're probably going to go, we have Montgomery Beach. I think you need a little bit more if we are selling Mixon there, even if Flowers looks great. Now, Anto says 7-3, 10-team at BBR format. We have Laporta, Smith, Hurts for Kelsey, Watson, Cousins. So Hurts to Cousins, massive downgrade. Laporta, Kelsey, massive upgrade. Smith to Watson, downgrade. Smith would be my wide receiver 3. Other team is in first place. I think Kelsey's the best player in the deal. It's a fair deal, though, because you are upgrading those 2 other spots. Fair deal. Now, Armando coming out saying 12-team PPR. We have Lamar, Madison, HN, Devontae Puka, Waddle, Amari, Schultz, Judy, Dotson, Musgrave, Gibson. Currently 4-1. Do I make any trades to save my running back room or just hold out till HN is back? Well, the thing is, if we were looking at players that we could sell who has some value here that we don't need, we have Adams, Puka, Waddle. So, I mean, if you go down, like if we could send like Jerry Jeudy and get back just a viable running back like Brian Robinson for the time being, I think that makes a lot of sense and then still get the long-term upside of HN there. Now, Weather coming out saying traded Hollywood and Madison for Devonta Smith. I like it. I like it. David says flex flex Nico or Saquon if healthy, and then Fields or Lawrence. If you look at my flex rankings this week, I have Barkley at 28. I have Nico at 30. It's close, but we probably go Barkley, and we're going to go Fields over Lawrence. Now, ISO Solana, always out here coming out saying 14-team PPR double flex. We have Watson, Keenan, Waddle, Saquon, Mostert, Hunter Henry, Debo Godwin, and then on the bench, Javonte Achane. Got off for Jonathan Taylor, Hawkinson, Higgins, DeAndre Swift, for Saquon, Debo, Henry, and Mostert. So going from Saquon to JT, kind of up to you, a little bit of a lateral move. Going from Debo to Higgins, slight downgrade. Mostert to Swift, slight upgrade for the long term when Achane's back. I'd rather have Mostert in the short term. And if that is Hunter Henry to TJ Hawkinson, I want the JT and Hawkinson side. If that is Derrick Henry, I probably want to hold on to the Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry side, especially in a 14-team double flex format. But like the team, my friend, just obviously tough to have the injuries there in that format. X-Men says, start one full BBR, Sutton or Palmer. I'll probably go Sutton. I'm just worried that you may end up being in a spot where Palmer loses a little bit to Johnston. Trustlogs has traded Addison, Najee, Dotson for Collins, Sanders, Dobbs. Dotson to Dobbs, who cares? Najee to Sanders, who cares? Addison to Collins. I don't know, my man. I think honestly, probably rather have, I think Collins has a higher floor, but I think that honestly, Addison may have a higher ceiling. Now, Joel says start Javonte or Tony. Happy birthday, Miss Dog. Appreciate you, my man. And we will go ahead. We will play Javonte over Tony. There's nothing that could make me play Tony. Zane says full BBR, one quarterback, one flex. CMC for Waddle, Pittman, Ford, Pierce. Oh, we're definitely going to go CMC here. The only instance that we won it is if it was like a 14-team league where you start 3 receivers and 3 flex spots. Lalo says James Cook for Jalen Waddle. We need a quarterback upgrade. We have Watson, Stroud, league mate as Allen, Amon-Ra, Nico, Kyron, Kamara. He's asking for Bijan. No. There's no way in hell we're going through and trading Bijan for Josh Allen. If you wanted to send, say, Bijan Robinson for Josh Allen and Amon-Ra St. Brown, then maybe we can go ahead and do that if you want in a 6-point passing touchdown format. And then James Cook for Waddle. I think you can go ahead and take the Waddle side if you want. Oliver says, looking to upgrade at running back after losing Achane. We have Hall, White, Diggs, St. Brown, Evans, Watson, Mahomes. I'm 2 and 3. I mean, ultimately, Evans was a solid guy for us about 2 to 3 weeks back, but I mean, the same time, Evans was a wide receiver that has lost a couple of value over the past few weeks. If you wanted to send, say, Evans, I don't. The thing is, if we're selling Rachaad White, we're going to be selling him at a low point. I think Rachaad White's actual volume is there where we probably want to be holding him for the time being. Hospital Mike says, Howard Stroud rest of season. Thanks for everything. Appreciate you, my man, as always. Let me go ahead and make you a moderator, too. I mean, you don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but at least get some credit in the chat here. Fat Mama coming out says 10-team at BBR, single flex. I'm 2 and 3. We have Lawrence, Fields, Adams, Ridley, Smith, Ayuk, Dobbs, JT, Bijan. Oh, great running back room. Great team. I have no idea how the hell we're 2 and 3. If we can upgrade wide receiver, that'd be great. Like if you could send maybe say like Kyle Pitts and Brandon Ayuk and go get a wide receiver in the CeeDee Lamb range, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Jovi says Hawkinson, Brian Robinson for Andrews Hollywood. Thank you, Mason. Hawkinson, Andrews, give me Hawkinson rest of season with the Jefferson injury. Brian Robinson, Hollywood will be dependent on your team. I think it's up to you. Now let me refresh this so we can keep bringing them up. And as I do this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check out those Underdog pick'ems, links in the live chat, links in the description, links in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em for tonight, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, since it was our birthday, Underdogs also hooking y'all up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Monday night. But Hi Max says, which 3 of the 4 do you stash? Mims, Michael Wilson, Keaton Mitchell, Condre Miller. We're going to go Mims, Miller, and then Wilson, Mitchell, up to you. I don't really care about either, but you definitely have to stash Marvin Mims with the possibility of a Judy or Sutton trade. Gavin says 10-team BBR single flex. We have Cousins, Etienne, AJ Brown, Puka, Hopkins, Russ, Khalil, James Cook, Spears, Judy. Just got my first win. Any moves? I mean, I would love to get a quarterback upgrade if we can. Just losing Khalil Herbert, we probably can't afford it. If you could send like James Cook and Cousins to get to Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, Lamar, then we probably would. But much easier said than done. Now, Blaze coming out saying 12-team at BBR double flex 4-1. We have Allen, Bijan, Etienne, Spears, Charbonnet, Puka, Smith, Moore, Hopkins, Dell, Downs, Kincaid, Musgrave. Who to trade and who to target? I would like an upgrade at tight ends, but honestly, I would say that since it's a 12-team double flex format, tight end's going to be less important overall. So I would probably just go through and I'll probably just drop Dell, pick up a tight end that we can play this week. Kincaid's probably not going to play given the fact that he is in concussion protocol still. Obviously, you have Luke Musgrave on the bye. So then we pick up a tight end to play this week. Then also we probably chill specifically because you're already optimized for your format. Now, Gregory says 12-team Happy BR double flex. Purdy, Walker, Swift, Wilson, Smith, Kelsey, Montgomery, Taylor. On the bench, we have Love, Watson, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, and Josh Downs. Okay. I would love to get an upgraded quarterback if we can. I think we're probably going to have to wait till Christian Watson comes back from the bye, though, and a double flex format especially. Like, if we get Watson back from the bye, and then all of a sudden he does have a spike week, and we get an opportunity to sell, say, Watson and Love, or Watson and Purdy, or maybe Smith and Purdy, just a wide receiver and that quarterback to get a better guy in return, we would look to do that. It's a trade we can't make now. We are going to have to wait till we get through these buys, though. Chase says start Evans, St. Brown. We're going to go St. Brown. Then, yes, we flex Mostert especially. Okay. Now, Miles says, got Lamar, Andrews, Bijan, Henry, Pittman, Collins, Flowers, and Watson with JT on the bench. 10-team BBR, any ideas to upgrade wide receiver? Wide receiver, we're going to be fine. I mean, obviously, if we have JT on the bench, like if you could sell, say, like Derrick Henry in a full BBR format, if we can go get CeeDee Lamb. I'm sorry, not CeeDee Lamb. If we can go get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Or if you could sell like Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers and go get Devontae Adams in that kind of format where you're that loaded, I think that could make sense. Now, Antonio coming out says, 10-team full BBR format, 4-1, was offered Bijan, Gabe Davis, and Spears for Godwin and Hall. Other receivers are Lamb, Nico, Deontay, Rice, JSN, Wandell. So we have a ton of receivers. Hall to Bijan, massive upgrade. Godwin to Gabe Davis, Spears. Who cares? It's a 10-team league. Let's go get Bijan. Phenomenal team, phenomenal trade. And bringing in the extra player, we're going to be dropping Wandell Robinson. And we'd rather roster that extra running back on the bench rather than wide receiver. But I think we have about 5 minutes until kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to piss myself, so I'm probably going to call it here. But, of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems on Underdog for tonight, it's not too late. Still got time to go out there and take advantage of the Patrick Mahomes special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard. The Justin Herbert special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard on Monday. Promo code FLOCK will also get you a 100% deposit match. Plus, it will get you our 2023 rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. So make sure you are taking advantage. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. I'll be live after the game tonight. We'll be recapping everything.